Are we live?
Hey everybody, it's Dan, and joining me.
My name is Dave Rapoza, all the way from sunny Colorado. How are you doing this great afternoon?
You know, just hanging out, playing some Final Fantasy VI. We've got some stuff we want to talk about, and we thought, who better to talk about it with than hashtag Team Cream here on Twitch. Basically, here's the deal, everybody. Steve Lichman Book 2 is going to get kickstarted in like 50 days. Like, it's coming up real quick. Dave's got a wedding. I'm going to the wedding. Lots of stuff's happening. But here's the thing. We want to obviously like grow the audience and get the word out because, you know, despite the Amazon delays and stuff, we're really happy with how Book 1 turned out and that we were able to get it out within a year and everything. And like, we want to, you know, we got so many messages after the first one of people being like, I missed the Kickstarter. How do I get a book? We don't want that to happen again. Or we want to minimize it as much as possible. So we want to brainstorm with you guys on who we should send review copies of the book to so that when the Kickstarter goes live, we can get the word out that it's available.
Yeah, because we have a handful of people in mind for all this stuff. You know, like we want to send copies to like Dick Masterson, if you've listened to the Dick Show. You got IO9 is one of our, you know, go-to kind of things that we've talked to them before.
Comic Girl 19 already helped promote it. Thank you so much. We're going to have her hopefully bring it up again when the next Kickstarter comes up. We're thinking maybe like Pick of the Week podcast or, I don't know. We just wanted to know if anyone has any suggestions on like who to send it to so we can actually get more exposure this time. Because
like if you have a show that you listen to or something that you think that they might like the comic or something like that, that would be really cool. Just because we don't listen to a ton of podcasts, obviously, like, you know, we can only listen to the ones that we listen to.
Oh, Jack Trader just subscribed.
Jack, what the heck? Got me on.
Oh, creamy and dreamy. Jack, we love you.
You're beautiful.
Oh God, can you change the thing on Twitch or to Final Fantasy VI for me?
I'll change it.
Please, thank you. So I don't have to pause the gameplay experience as I dive into the waterfall.
We just go through so many games that
I know.
You know, what are you gonna do?
This is part 3 of my full playthrough of Final Fantasy VI. Oh boy.
There we go. Edited.
Boom.
Pervaholic. He asks, have you guys tried publishing through Image Comics for the next book? No, we're keeping everything.
We're doing it ourselves because we want to feel the pain. We like the pain.
Yeah. Pain and pleasure intertwined.
Yes. Basically, here's the deal with Image. We love Image. We love the stuff they do. We love the fact that people can keep their rights at Image. But the trade-off is that you make less in sales and that you have to manage all of your own marketing, and it ends up costing you a lot more money because of the time you have to put into it. So you're basically giving them a cut and you're not getting much in return. Like, you do get the rights, and that is great, but we're not big enough yet where, like, if we had like name recognition like Mike Mignola or something and enough people were buying the book, it would make sense to maybe do something like that with Image, but where we are now, it doesn't make sense financially.
Yeah, if it were impossible for us to like fulfill demand, then eventually stuff like that. But self-publishing is just, you know.
I'm going to say based on what we did this time, and the amount of stuff that went wrong and how we were still able to get it out within 90 days, I think our limit would probably be 50,000. That would be where it's impossible for the two of us to manage it.
Yeah.
This time we were just under 10. We managed to get it out without that many problems. I think we could probably get up to 40 or 50 before it was really impossible for us to do it.
For 40 or 50,000 books, we would need to hire somebody on to manage shipping.
Anything bigger than that, we're going to need to actually outsource it to a company like Image or somebody else. But
yeah, we just figured we'd reach out to the Cream team, you know, see if you guys had any suggestions. If you know anybody that, you know, you watch on YouTube or people that you listen to in a podcast or even just like blogs you read where they review books or, you know, anything where it's just kind of like funny stuff, because we have a weird book. We don't have like a comic book, people's kind of comic book, and we also don't have a web comic necessarily.
It's a weird thing that's in the middle where it's written kind of like a web comic, but the presentation's like a graphic novel, so we're not really sure what to do with it.
This is what marketing people suffer with in branding, where they try and find their audience, and they're like, well, it's going to be hard for you to find an audience with something like that. So when you have Dracula in a book and you have a lich and it's silly and it's about like basically teenagers being teenagers and having a hard time in high school but in a dungeon, then it's like, who is that for?
Right.
So I mean, there is a lot of people that are into it, but to find any one source online of like, you know, people that are just willing to share it and all that, it's a little weird.
Forbidden Planet?
Yeah, we're not looking necessarily, not like specifically for housing the book or like selling it on a shelf. We're looking more for promotional purposes. Like if you've ever seen reviews for something, like we do good on websites like Kotaku.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a gaming site, but they also do gaming related things. And because Steve Lichman kind of has D&D in it and video game jokes and stuff like that, then, you know, they're able to post it.
Thanks, Mike. Critical Role's a good idea.
Critical Role.
There we
good
go.
Idea.
We got one.
Cream Team in effect. I'm going to write that down.
Hashtag Cream Rising.
Yeah, cream always rises to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Critical Role.
Critical Role's a good one. I've watched some Critical Role. Didn't even think of it. See, this is why we need you guys.
Yeah, because we're not
too busy.
Super smart.
We're like, my brain's ability to process stuff in the past 2 weeks has basically just gone off a cliff. Like, Dave can attest to it. Like, the late nights and the constant shipping and everything. Like, it's just, I'm not able to think.
Thank you so much, Mike. Mike 086. You beautiful creamster.
Yes.
Matt Mercer's who we got to contact. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Great.
I'm writing that down right now.
Hey, Alta Colad. I hope I said that right. The Canada books did go out. They went out last week. People that are in Quebec and Montreal should be getting them as early as tomorrow. The deal with the tracking was some people got tracking emails and some people didn't. There was a misunderstanding on who, like, they told me they were going to send out the tracking. And I thought that meant send it out since they had everyone's emails. What that meant was they sent it all to me. And I was like, can you send it to the people who bought the books? And I guess they sent a few, and then they said, like, well, we can't do it for everybody. We just, we don't have the time. But I have everyone's tracking info. So if you did get it in Canada and you're not in Montreal or Quebec where it's going to show up early this week, feel free to reach out to me on the Kickstarter. Send me a PM, and I'll be happy to, happy to let you know what's going on.
Yeah, to Kristen Benson. Yeah, we are sending a copy to somebody at IO9 who did like the book. So, yes. James Whitbrook, if you're out there, what up? Thanks for helping us make Steve a reality last time. That was pretty dope.
Thank you.
So, Adam Stolterman says, I just need to say this. Mainly because of you, I got the guts to bring a few of my pages to a Comic-Con here in Sweden a month ago. And now I'm contracted to make my own 100-page graphic novel that's going to be printed next spring. I just wanted to thank you for always saying that you shouldn't wait until you feel good enough to do something. It really is true. Thanks again. Congratulations,
Congratulations,
Adam.
Man. That's fucking awesome. See, cream rising. Cream rising everywhere. No, it's really great. And hopefully if anyone's listening, like, we're serious and we say, like, just do a thing. Just do a thing and it'll, it's going to work out at some point. Like, no, don't just keep waiting forever. That's super great, though. We're super happy for you.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, really, it doesn't, all it really takes is for you to just do it. Like, I know that's the most overdone thing ever, just to sit there and spout that motivational crap. But it's like, that's really all it is. It's you deciding that you're going to do something.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the difference between people who are making things happen and people who just want to do something, is like whether or not you feel like you're ready, you just try and you do your best. And because nobody else is doing that, there's a good there's a good chance that you're going to get out there. Like I always look at books that are on the shelves at the stores. You look at like movies on Netflix and stuff that are just sitting on there. I watched a movie last night, and I'm not going to say I didn't watch it, but it was like Alpha and Omega Dino Digs,
Yes.
and it's on. It's by Lionsgate. They produced it or whatever. It's the worst CG movie I've ever seen, and it's on there. So it's like if shit like that can get made and funded, then you can do anything you want. You really can.
That's really cool. Very happy for you. Let's see. Hey, Dave and Dan, the first book you printed exclusive for Kickstarter, but do you guys ever consider to sell your future book public or on Amazon? Well, here's the thing with that. It's the same thing we just mentioned about basically not being able to go with Image right now because it's not financially doable. It's kind of the same thing with Amazon, because to list a book on Amazon, they take 30% of your profit as like a flat thing, and then you have fulfillment fees on top of that. So if we sold a book, let's say for $20 on Amazon, they'd take $7 as their Amazon fee, and then they'd take another probably $2 or something to fulfill it. So, half the book is gone right there, and then that doesn't even cover the cost of us getting it made in China and then shipping it from China to Amazon, which is probably another $6 a book. So then we're only making $2 or $3 a book, and then taxes come in and take part of that. So it's like you're only making like $1.50, $2 a book when you list on Amazon. If you've got a book that's going to sell hundreds of millions of copies, like if you're Gillian Flynn and you wrote Gone Girl, Amazon's great, fantastic for you. None of the headache, you're making all the money you were going to make anyway. But for someone who's doing a book like ours, where there's only, 10,000, 20,000 copies, it doesn't make sense to list it publicly because you're basically just breaking even.
Yeah, and then it comes down to us being a partnership. It's like...
Yeah, and we totally understand that it's way better for, the audience because they can go get it at any given time, and we understand that that's like, a good thing to offer people and to have it available for them. Unfortunately, because it's just the two of us and we're still very early into, getting our company off the ground, financially, it's not something we can do. What we might be able to do in the future, we've talked about, we still haven't decided, is having reserve copies. Like, if we get book 2 printed, we'll order an extra 2,000 and just have them. And, until they run out, or maybe flash sales, like, hey, if you miss book 2, on this random day, we're going to sell 200 of them and then they're gone. Like, we might do something like that.
Yeah, the reason being is that like we couldn't do that year round because we don't have a team in place. We don't have a distribution center. We don't have anything like that. So it's like we can only do it on our own. So we'd have to do isolated events where like, okay, for this week, we know we're shipping books and that's it. That kind of thing is going to happen. But yeah, it's hard to do that kind of stuff. And, like you're either a store all the time or you're creators all the time. It's like, it's really hard to be both without having a really big base of, resources, people, all this kind of, something to facilitate any kind of demand. It's really hard.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if we ever sold it to a publisher and let them handle it, then obviously it would be available in places like that. And at that point, we'd just be making a royalty based on sales. But we're just not there yet, unfortunately. So that's why we want to get the word out about the next Kickstarter and, find good places to share it around so as many people can get in as, possible. Because the other thing is that for the book we're making, hardcover with the foil stamping and all the extra pages and like the good paper weight, no publishing company, even if we went with Image or Dark Horse or any of them, none of them are going to make a book of the quality that we want to make for people, and none of them are going to, if they even did, it would never be as cheap as we're trying to give it to people. So like, the first book was 250 pages, hardcover, foil stamped, sticker inside, signed, good paperweight and everything, and we gave it to, sold it for $20 on Kickstarter. If we went through a publisher like Image or Dark Horse, that book would be a minimum of probably $40. And they probably wouldn't do it in the first place because the audience isn't big enough for them to merit doing a huge hardcover book like that.
Yeah.
So seriously. It would end up being a really weird, like softcover, whatever, just kind of thing. And, I'm sure some people are okay with that, but it's not the product we want to give people. So it's all very confusing, but there's a lot of factors in why we haven't gone with a publisher yet. We don't have the power to go to a publisher and go, hey, you have to make this big, beautiful hardcover book. You just have to. It's going to be part of the contract, because they'd laugh you out of the room right now if you suggested that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I brought up, I won't say what the publisher was, but a big publisher approached us last year wanting to buy the rights to do it. And basically, I told them, we negotiated for a while, and the best deal that I could give them was me and Dave are allowed to do, because they wouldn't do the hardcover, they wouldn't do the stamps on the inside with the stickers and the gold, they wouldn't do any of the special stuff we want to do. And the final deal I brought to the table was me and Dave get to do the first edition of every book on Kickstarter, and we get to make them as crazy and ridiculous and beautiful as we want. And then all of the second, third, fourth, fifth editions, the publisher can handle and do what they want with. And they shut that down, and I said, okay, well, that's as far as I'm willing to go. If you can't meet me there, then we're just not going to do it. But yeah.
Yeah. There's no way you're getting 128 GSM matte art paper for your pages.
Oh.
There's just no way. It's too expensive.
If anyone's wondering, I'm doing the letter mailing game for the wounded soldier and his girlfriend so I can get a Tintina bar, which heals your HP as you walk.
Dude, are you kidding?
I'm not kidding at all.
What the heck?
Someday we'll do game streams where we just talk about the game. But for now, no. No, never. Hi, has the darkness come? Oh, it came a while ago. You're actually pretty late.
Yeah, the darkness is at the end of the last stream. Jack Trader. Are there any low-paying, low-tier companies I can do freelance work for that hire artists strictly for their skill in character concepts, like mainly for turnarounds and designs?
I mean, Paizo, like Pathfinder, they don't do turnarounds, but what they'll do is they'll say, we have an expansion coming out that's set in our desert universe. There's 10 characters in this expansion. We need pawns of them. And basically you'll do frontal designs of the character in an interesting pose that's going to get printed on a little 2-inch, or actually less than that, like 1.5-inch Pathfinder pawn. And occasionally they'll ask for monsters that are on bigger ones and stuff like that. Pays around $150 per. But yeah, a lot of the tabletop RPG companies are lower tier. They pay to do pretty much exactly what you're describing.
Yeah.
Can you think of any others aside from like miniature games?
No, I mean outside of like private clients.
Yeah.
Nothing off the top of my head.
There's very few. There's some games. See, this is where it gets tricky because so many of them go out of business within the first 2 years. There's a lot of digital card games that are trying to be sort of like what Applebot did, where it's just like character illustrations that show up and do flash animations on a page. And there's a lot of companies that pay for that kind of stuff, but I can't recommend any because so many of them go out of business like right away. Like I almost did a bunch for a company earlier this summer, and in the 3 weeks it took us to negotiate the contract and start, the company basically outsourced all the work and went under. And it's like, I can't recommend one because I don't know who's actually still doing it. It's constantly kind of in flux, but that's the importance of having a network of people that do freelance, because you'll always know what kind of stuff is available, what people are working on, what new opportunities pop up. But
yeah, it's been so long since I did any kind of work like that I don't know where you'd go for it.
But
Jumpman565, do you believe in a thing called love? I know the darkness. Yes, I believe in love.
Yes.
Let me see here.
He's getting married in less than a month, guys.
Yeah, see?
Believes in love.
Team Cream, get on it.
Live in love. How are you guys tonight? We're doing good. We're just, if anyone's just joining us, we're looking for suggestions on who to send review copies of the Steve Lichman book to so we can get the word out about book 2. And hopefully get as many people on board for the next Kickstarter as possible, because after the first one...
Oh, Dan, are you getting out of here?
Ghost Riders outside.
Meow.
But yeah, so many people reached out saying they missed the Kickstarter and they were upset that they had to wait a year to get a copy, that we want to mitigate that as much as we can. So if anyone listening has any suggestions out there in hashtag Team Cream, just let me know. Let us know.
Creamland.
Creamland.
Hey, John. Ask... oh, right, never mind. It's not a question.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, you can watch the previous videos. If you go up to the top, you see watch Steve Lichman's last broadcast. You can click there. And I think that there's if you click on our name, you can go watch the previous streams. Dun, dun, dun. Christian Benson. For the past few months, I've been studying a ton of anatomy as recommended. How do you stop tiring of constant study?
Well, you mix it up. Don't do just one kind of anatomy study. Do a few, and always make sure that you're applying it to personal work. If you're not doing the personal work portion of the study's kind of useless. It's like, draw the anatomy, study it, and then go do some personal work where you apply that anatomy and then come back to it. Don't constantly do the anatomy study, and don't constantly do the same kind of anatomy study. Do different kinds. What's happening? Adam Solderman just subscribed.
Welcome to Team Cream. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Love to you. Thanks for supporting us.
Thank you.
Boom, you got me.
Love
right
you.
In the face.
Love you, appreciate you.
Swallowed that.
Thank you. Got that cream.
Thanks for the cream, Adam.
Keep that cream down. Anyways.
Yeah, make sure you're mixing up your studies. You don't want to constantly be in that world because you'll get burnt out.
If all you're doing is drawing line art from a Loomis book, maybe try doing some form paintings of muscles. Like, look at how light falls on them. Maybe do some master studies. Just mix up the studies, apply it to the personal work. Keep it going.
Jumpman565. Maybe send a copy to Red Letter Media. Rich Evans and Jack Packard talk a lot about comics on their Twitch streams.
I actually was going to send one to Rich. That's
a good
thank
idea.
You for reminding me. That was an idea we had a very long time ago when they started doing pre-rec.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that.
Cypher says, make sure you don't get married at night, Dave. The constellations will come down and kill you guys again. Exactly right.
That's a very good point, actually.
That's why we're not.
You should really watch out for that.
And we won't go outside if it does get dark. I will stay inside. Jingai Jigo Komodo. That's a crazy cool name, man.
There you go.
Maybe send a copy to Linkara from Atop the Fourth Wall. I've never heard of that, but
I haven't either, but let's check it out. Write it down.
I will look it up. Linkara. Thanks for that.
To Nerdist? Yeah, that's a good idea, too.
I don't know how we'd send it to them.
I don't know how we send it to them, yeah. Maybe they have a mailing address on their site. I don't know.
Evan Norman says that David Allen book was pretty useful. Mad props for suggesting it. No problem, Evan. For anybody else who's curious what he's talking about, it's David Allen, Getting Things Done. It's about organization, that kind of stuff.
Book. My favorite. I listen to it like every couple months. Ooh, good one.
Jack Trader asks you, Dan, have you heard of the hip-hop artist Mega Ran? He made an album some time ago called Black Materia, which is based on the world of Final Fantasy VII. I know, it sounds dumb, but you got to believe me when I say it's awesome.
I have not. Is it hip-hop where he remixes songs from the game and has... Because I've heard the thing where they'll take an Aesop Rock song and they'll put Ocarina of Time underneath it, like Zelda music. Is it one of those things where they take video game songs and put rap lyrics over it, or does he actually write lyrics about the game? Because I never know which is which. I've heard if anyone's a fan of Disney, check out DJ Do You. Fantastic album. Insanely good album. Stunting like Mufasa. Incredible.
Adam's Art says, thanks for the recommendation of The War of Art. It's fantastic. No problem. No problem. Jumpman565. Dave, can you give one to the electric man you see on your walks? He'll put it on the grid.
Basically,
I know he will.
That guy's, don't go near that guy. He's too creepy. Put it down on the ground and back away slowly like you're making an offering.
I'll just shine a flashlight on him and watch him melt in his clothes like little monsters.
There you go. Yeah, it's a good idea.
We were watching that movie last night. If you don't know and you have Amazon Prime, well, hey, you might be missing out on something big because they have a couple of my favorite movies on there right now. One of them is called The Wraith. The Wraith is on Amazon Prime. You can watch it right now.
Great
It's a movie. It's an 80s movie about racing, but it's not just about racing. It's about wraithing.
Yeah. I was wondering where you were going with that.
I won't spoil it, but it's got a great soundtrack. Solid movie. I'll knock you lower than whale shit. You'll get it if you watch it.
You'll also notice about 20 things that came out in the past 10 years that are influenced by this one movie no one ever talks about.
Yeah.
Lots
one of the
stuff.
big ones is Kavinsky. A lot of that kind of music. But anyway, another one, Little Monsters. You got to check it out.
Great.
It's got Fred Savage in it.
Yeah.
And it's got Howie Mandel.
There you go.
You know what I mean? He's a monster. He lives under a bed. He dresses like a cool guy. He dresses like Kiefer a little bit.
It is true, yeah. He does a little bit.
It's pretty solid. Solid movie. Christian Benson asked, you guys seen Suicide Squad? Any thoughts? Neither of us have seen it.
We haven't seen it. I'm probably not going to see it. I'm just not that interested. I don't really know. I feel like if you already know what the Suicide Squad is and you're really into the comics and like the Assault on Arkham movie that everybody always talks about, it's probably going to be a great movie because you're familiar with the world. But like everything I've heard says that if you don't already know what the characters are going in, that the story just like it's not written for people that don't already know who they are, and it just gets really confusing. And I don't know. I just don't really care.
Yeah, I just haven't really wanted to see it.
I watched maybe 30 minutes of Batman versus Superman, and I was like, what is happening? And yeah, I don't know. It sounds like this is the same thing where it's just a lot of like, if you're already a fan of it, you'll probably love it. But like, if you don't really know what you're getting into, it's a little much. But yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out, probably on like, Netflix or Amazon Prime or something.
Let me see here. Sediel asks, good book suggestions other than War of Art and Getting Things Done? I mean, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're just looking for kind of like organizational books and like time management, all that kind of thing. I always suggest that Derek Sivers audiobook, Anything You Want.
That's a good one, yeah.
Because I think that's I think that one applies to artists in a lot of ways, especially if you want to do your own thing. Like it's kind of more in tune with, I think, how we think about stuff. Like, how you want to have more control, and like it's more about like questioning why people do things in the first place. One of my favorite things from that book is he was talking about what's the difference, and I know this doesn't really like apply to anybody, but it's a cool thought of like when you start to do something. He says, what's the difference between $10 million and $1 million? And it's like, do you want to be the kind of person that makes $10 million? Because the difference between $10 million and $1 million in terms of like a company or a business or anything is like night and day.
Right.
And maybe, like in your life, you just want to do something, even smaller than that. And that's what makes you happy. And that's what produces the best work. And like, you shouldn't just aspire to have infinite growth and become this like, monster of a thing. It's like, because that's not necessarily what's going to be best for you in your life. And that was that was a really great book, because when we started doing Steve, we got a lot of offers.
Yeah, we still are.
Yeah, like we get, things to do like TV shows, or maybe you want to do a movie or a short film, or maybe you want to publish, or all this other stuff.
Right.
And whenever we look at it through the lens of like that book, like Anything You Want, we're like, okay, well, as like attractive as that sounds, is like, oh, who doesn't want a TV show? Who doesn't want a movie? Who doesn't want all this stuff? It's like, it's the wrong time.
Yeah, it's
It's the
not there.
wrong time for us.
Because that's
It's
the
like
thing is like
we
you
want to
want
be
to,
happy.
yeah, you want to have a well sculpted thing where you can look at it and go, I've done enough work on this. I've exhausted all the things I want to do with it, and I'm willing to let someone else come in and use it. Because if it's not there yet, if there's still, like, we have a 400-page book coming out in the next year of new Steve stuff that we like way more than the first book. And we have a third book and a fourth book planned after that that we're also really excited to do. And, like, until you've done all the stuff that you want to do with your thing, it's probably not a great idea to just give it away, because there's two facts no matter what in terms of selling an IP and getting your company bigger. Number one is that you have less control, always. And number two is that the quality always drops. The bigger something gets, the cheaper people want to make it sustainable, and the quality always drops off. There's less quality control.
And nobody cares about it as much as you do.
No, exactly. Like, I have this is one crazy thing that I'm really, my proudest thing about the Kickstarter isn't that we put the book out, it's that we have a 100% response rate to every single comment and question on all of the PMs and all the pages. We've responded to literally every email, every comment, every PM. And the second we hand this off to a company like, Image or something like that, or we sell it to someone to publish it, that's gone. Like, that's completely gone. No one's going to care about the product the way that the two of us do. It's just the reality of it. So
yeah.
you have to be okay with, yes, I've done enough on my own that I can get rid of this and feel like I exhausted all possibility. I did everything I could with it before I, gave up on it, basically, and let someone else take over. And we're not there.
You want to see how far you can go in struggling. Like, you never want to be like, everything good that comes of what we're doing is coming out of like this personal kind of necessity to do it. Like,
I didn't know that I could pack, pallet, and ship 500 books in a week till I was told I had to do it. And now I know that. And I'm like, cool, let's see if I can do 2,000 next time. Like, let's figure out where all the borders are. Let's figure out exactly how much we can take before we have to bring a third person in.
Yeah, and as much as it sucks sometimes to be like in that crazy stressful place, the best part about doing your own thing, and like as tempting as it is to kind of hand it off to somebody, like they might not take care of it the way I would, but it's out of my hands and I'm safe. As soon as you do that, it's like everybody always thinks they want that. They want that kind of escape, that kind of safety, that kind of comfort. But in reality, like, you don't actually want that. You want, you know what I mean? It's like somebody who becomes rich, like they always say, like, money doesn't buy you happiness and all that shit. It's like, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be at the point where, like, you don't ever have to do anything again. That's when you go crazy. Like, that's when you get restless and you go, like, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. Like, I wish like when people retire and they come back to it and they go, I can't do this. And then they just start working again and they realize it was stupid to retire in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's because it's that struggle, that like constant learning experience, that challenge of life and everything that keeps you wanting to do things, and it keeps you growing, and it keeps your brain engaged with everything that you're doing. So like any opportunity you get, it seems really tempting to kind of take the first thing that comes out to you. It seems like, I should do this because then we'd be taken care of. It's like, but what if we did make a bunch of money? Like, then we would be tempted, we'd be challenged, and just like, now it's comfortable. Like, now what do? It's like, let's say you do sell something for like a few $100,000, like you sell a big movie or something like that. It's like, what is the thing that's driving you now? It's like, it has to be even more on you to keep that self-motivation going, because it'd be real easy to give up and be like, well, we don't have to do a book in a year because, like, we're no longer just trying to survive.
Yeah. It's not like a necessity anymore. So that pressure is gone, and then, the quality gets worse, and then it feels like a job. Then you're fulfilling the terms of a contract instead of doing a passion project, and the difference between those is night and day.
Yeah, like, we want to get to a place where we've done everything we can, and then when we feel like, okay, we want to do something else, it's like, then somebody else we can hand it off to, or we can open the doors up to more people, being involved and making something else. But at the same time, obviously we'd still be involved, but to a lesser extent, and only at that point would I ever feel comfortable doing that. So long way around. I'm just saying that book's a great book. Anything you want, Derek Sivers.
Yeah, it's a good
It's
one.
really good, just perspective on how to think about anything you want to do in your career going forward.
Forrest, yeah, your buddy Brandon has been sending us photos. I didn't bring it up because I'm not sure if we can talk about it. I don't know like how secretive or if there's any NDAs about the project, but the photos that they sent us of what they're doing with Steve and it looks really cool. I just sent it to Dave earlier today.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, oh my God.
I'm not sure if we can like talk about it or not, so I didn't want to bring it up, but it looks really cool. I can't wait to share it.
Hey, Signalysis just got the lunchbox in the mail.
Whoa, that was fast, really?
Yeah, I guess so.
Whoa, I mailed
That's
those.
quick.
I mailed those 2 days ago. That's great. Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
all the
hope you liked it.
lunchboxes. Yeah, they all went out. I packed them, heat treated them, bubbled them. Yeah, they all went out. Everything except the top tier lunchboxes because those are going out this week because we got more stuff to put in them. But yeah, I'm really glad you got it. Awesome.
Jingab. Try sending a review copy to Bleeding Cool Comics. Hey, thank you so
There
much.
you go. Bleeding Cool.
That's a
I
good
didn't know they had a
idea.
comic thing. This is why we got Team Cream.
Wrote it down. Team Cream. Thank you so
Hashtag
much.
Team Cream. Mm-mm-mm.
Just a few friends at Super Genius making a game in their spare times. This
Well,
Forest.
I don't want to get it wrong, Forrest, so I'm gonna let you describe it. But I was told it's sort of like Pokemon Go, where you find things in the real world and there's superheroes and weird characters and stuff. And they're being nice enough to feature Steve in it, and they sent me some concept art of what Steve's gonna look like in it, and it's really cool. And I'm really excited to see the 3D and stuff. That was really nice of them to want to do that. And
Yeah, that got me pretty hyped up.
if I described the game wrong, please correct me. That's what I was told on the phone.
Sidebar.
Oh yeah, I guess I should
Jack
bring this
Trader.
up for
Good
anyone
idea.
listening.
Thank you.
I'll bring this up for anyone listening. This is the last week of the Kickstarter completely. Like the audiobook's going out this week because all I have to do before the audiobook goes out is send the replacement copies of all the books that got lost or didn't arrive. There's about 50 of those total, which isn't a ton considering we sent out 7,000. Yeah, some people either didn't get their copy, it was lost in the mail. Some people it was stolen. One person's apartment burnt down. Yeah, there's just copies that are generally missing. So I'm sending all those out basically in sets of like 10 because a lot of them have customs documents I have to fill out to mail them, so it takes a little longer. Packing them and everything. And then the final lunch boxes, which are the top tier, are going out. I'm waiting on one thing I need in the mail that got delayed that's showing up tomorrow. And then those are going out. And then once all the shipping's done, we're sending out the audiobook probably later this week, and then we're done. The whole campaign's over. So, yeah, we're coming up on it, and it feels pretty good.
Yep, it's coming up. Everything is going to be done, and then it's just right into the next one.
Dave's wedding, and then book 2.
It's pretty crazy. We have a crazy schedule for the next 2 years.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing some streams when I'm in Colorado where we're both in the same room. Weird.
Wait, say that again?
We'll be doing some streams while I'm in Colorado where me and you are in the same room because I'm there for like 10 days.
That's right, man.
Right, didn't even think of that.
Oh yeah, bring your mic. I have
Oh, yeah,
I have
right.
the 2 mic input
Mm-hmm.
compressor.
Sure. That'll be cool. I don't know if anyone in Canada got their book yet. I know they shipped though. People should be getting them some people might have got them today. Basically, the shipper I hired handed them off to Canada Post, and Canada Post told me that people in Quebec and Montreal are going to be getting them between today and Monday, and then all the other territories are getting them within 7 to 10 days. So most people in Canada should have them by the end of this week. That's what I was told. So we'll see.
Colorado Cream Stream. We have a few questions in here. I'm going to get through them.
Philippe, right there. Yes, there will be a way to get the audiobook if you didn't get it with the Kickstarter. The audiobook is, number one, the audiobook's way longer than we thought it was going to be. The audiobook is like hours and out, like over 6 hours long. And yeah, we're absolutely going to have it for sale somewhere.
Borakua for life. Am I saying that totally wrong? Mr. Sunday Movies, another person to send the books to.
Does he do
Thank you so much. Yeah, he has a Weekly Planet comicbookmovie.com.
Oh, right.
podcast.
You're right. Yeah, he does. Okay, cool. Yeah, good call.
Thank you for that. Cream team all the way.
Team cream.
Team and creamin'. Nerd Vanquisher asks, can we get a Kiefer spinoff?
Just wait for book 2.
Yeah, just wait for book 2. We'll see what happens to
we already know what's happening to Kiefer. You just wait for book 2.
Yeah, book 2 has everything that we like. If in a perfect world, if we had known that the book would have done well, book 1,
yeah,
and we could have made it like 500 pages.
Yeah,
like it has everything, and we're super hyped about it because we had like a ton of fun writing it.
But yeah, that's the thing to remember about book 1 is that we did not know it was going to be a book until, God, I don't know, maybe issue 15.
Yeah, whenever it blew up on Imager.
Yeah.
The first time. It was like, what?
Yeah, the first handful aren't written in terms, it's just a webcomic until chapter 15, and then it's like, oh, let's start actually like having stuff carry over from issue to issue.
Mm-hmm. Jay Severin.
I know
buddy? You are. I'll be in Colorado mid-September. You around then, Dan?
I think that's mid-September is when I'm leaving. I think I'm leaving the 14th.
Yeah, that's like after the wedding.
I could hang around maybe. I don't know what it's going to cost me to get like an Airbnb yet, but if you're coming, I could maybe hang around a couple days.
Let's see. All right, yeah. Now we can just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this really cool thing that I can I'm not obviously name dropping anything, but like this weird thing where Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son,
will
sometimes like respond on Twitter, and I sit there and I stare at my Twitter and I go, how in the world do I somehow talk to you? And without it feeling super forced.
How do I not scare you away?
Yeah, like it's like when you see a Dragonite.
There you go.
And you're like, I know it's going to take a Master Ball or something.
Dragonite. Not even accurate.
I know. It's like Mewtwo.
It's okay. There you go. That's the one. More accurate.
But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? It's that scary tension moment where I'm like, this is an amazing person to like be able to somehow talk to.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do it at all.
Well, you don't bring up any of the David Bowie jokes that are in the book. Ever.
I know that.
Never bring those up.
So I just stare at the messages on response things on Twitter, and I just chicken out. I just sit there and stare at him, and I chicken out. I sent him like one message, and he just never responded. And I was just like, all right. Never again. It's like, never again.
It's like on dating sites when you can see when someone viewed your profile.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, what do I say? I don't want to be creepy, but they looked at me.
Yeah, they saw me.
They looked at me. They clicked like, not me. I can say anything.
Okay.
Murder.
You just throw it out there and you never hear anything. You just go,
Hey! Hey, you're good.
Hey, you bitch!
Yeah. Just
what the hell?
I saw you looking at me and I thought I'd look at you. Well, just say all the wrong things.
The best response would be to have that message go out that I sent him And then since he didn't reply, just reply again like 3 weeks later and just write "fuck you."
Yeah.
That would be that's the top response.
Fine, don't. At least Twitter doesn't have that thing that dating sites have where it shows you if they read it and chose not to respond.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and you boil inside your brain slowly.
I know. You just like
slow zoom on the text. Hey, Luis Prado, what's going on? Good talking to you earlier today. We chatted about art stuff. Hello.
Yeah, you beautiful, Luis. How you doing? Cypher. He says, that's like anytime I put a reply on stuff you put on Twitter. Yeah. I mean, I'm not that cool, man. You could send me dick pics. You could send me anything, and I'm down.
Yeah.
And I'll respond, too. You know, I'm always there.
I'll respond to it.
In the mornings, I'm there for every single message now. I just decided every morning I'm replying to everything, no matter what, even if it's crazy busy. Because if I get off of that train, I will just never respond to anybody. And I'm sorry for anybody that I didn't, because I'm just like, fuck it. Embrace every single thing. So I've been searching through all of my spam, make sure nobody's in there, all my other folders, everything. I don't want to miss anybody anymore. Sick of it. Just fight back.
So, let's see. Is there any role in concept art for somebody who generally does line art? I'm primarily a comic book artist, but I have always wanted to do art for games. Do I need to learn painting to get my foot in the door? Well, there's two answers to that. There's the general one and the specific one. The specific one is, if you're working for like an indie game or something and you're just part of a small team, then the style of art you do doesn't necessarily have to be bogged down in what the industry says you need. But if you want to work for like a big company, then you at least need to know how to color and probably render. You need some kind of style. Most game companies don't hire artists to just do line art, because basically what that means is, the reason to explain it, if you hire someone who only does line art, that means you have to hire another person to do the colors and render it out, which means they're paying 2 salaries, and no company's going to do that if they can get around doing it by hiring someone who can do all of it on their own. So it's just a common sense budget thing. But yeah,
like I do line art for a lot of jobs, but the deal is that if they needed me to, I could take it all the way. I could render it, do everything, but the initial concept phase, I will do like tons of line art. And I mean, like every company in the sketch phase, in like the preliminary design phase, like, they'll accept that kind of stuff, like line drawing, sketches, all that, just to get ideas across. Like I've never had a problem with that. But, if they ask you like, hey, okay, now I need to see what this would look like in my game, then you're going to need to be able to deliver on that. And that's kind of that's kind of a necessity. I mean, if you were like Joe Mad, I'm sure you could get around it. But like, other than being some huge name or something where like the style of the game almost revolves around what you do,
exactly,
then you probably wouldn't have many opportunities doing that, specifically in video games and movies and stuff.
I will say, like, depending on the company, like, this is a weird thing. They want you to be able to do everything, obviously, for the reasons we just talked about. But some companies, especially Capcom, for some reason, if you get the art books for like Dragon's Dogma or something, the amount of just line art they pump out before they choose a concept to take to finish is crazy. So like, having the ability to do that is a really good skill. If you're going to work at a company that iterates like Capcom does, like, they take that stuff so seriously. They'll draw the armor and how it's going to look on a person 100 times before they commit. Like, I can't even imagine how many like reuse they went through before they decided on the final one for Street Fighter V, because any Capcom art book is just like hundreds of versions of something. But yeah.
Cypher says, Dave, when you talk like this, it makes me think you're a heavy 4chan user.
There you go.
No, I'm like the least anonymous person. You could ask me anything.
Yeah, what's the point of using 4chan if we talk about literally anything people want to talk about on a stream?
Yeah, The only time I've ever used 4chan is somebody linked me to like a thing where they were like critiquing my video of my bog witch tutorial. And I responded on there because they were like, the anatomy's messed up.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, I know. That's like, I just responded, said, yeah, I know. But what are you going to do when you're like 4 hours into a video?
Yeah, there was a great 4chan thread about how horrible I am a while ago, and I read all the comments on it on the live stream forever
That
ago.
was one of the funniest
That was
things
so good. I
ever
love
read.
that.
One of the lines was Dan Warren is
Dan Warren plays an integral role in the lie that is Dave Rapoza.
It's so insane.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Like
There's
people
so
actually
much good stuff.
think like I've never had Illuminati level conspiracy theories like aimed at us.
Well, I'm honored that anyone would care about us that much to come up with like, wow, like I never wanted to mean that much to anyone, but you know, it feels good.
It's crazy. Like I've never had that level of investment.
Yeah.
Like artists online.
Insane. And the sad thing is that it's all anonymous. So like they all know who we are when we go in and go like, hey everyone, you're talking about us, but like we could be anybody. And it's like, if you just come to me and say, I hate this about you, I'd love to talk about it. I would love that. That's a conversation that sounds like a really good time. It's just like, you do this thing that I fucking hate. And I go, oh, what is it? Like, I'd love that. But people like, that was the other weird thing about that was people thought that we had the ability to get them like blacklisted, like they're big players in the community, so you can't say anything to them or blah, blah, blah. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm a fat dude in Rhode Island that draws coasters. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, if I can pull the strings in the industry, don't you think I'd have a better job? Like, where the fuck is that logic coming from?
Yeah, like if you want to know my level of like who I actually talk to on a day-to-day basis, it's Kim and Dan.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
I don't talk to any, like, I talk to people, but not about like anything. Like, I never like go on Facebook and like gossip with people. Like, I'll call people out on stuff that's like wrong, like on a moral level. Or like if somebody's doing something like evil, then like, all right, I'll dip my foot in that.
Sure.
But outside of that, like, no way would I ever be like, there's this kid and he's like, he doesn't like,
well,
like he's still studying and he's learning.
You're missing a key component is that you don't do it anonymously.
Yeah, exactly.
If someone's doing something shitty and you call them out, you do it publicly so they can make a counter argument to you and it becomes a conversation about what's going on. You don't anonymously blast them with no context.
But the world is super funny. Like the way that we grew up, and I mean, I'm sure there are people in here who can relate to this, but like we grew up in a world that was like the opposite of what a 4chan is.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we were kids, like our friends were brutal.
Yeah.
Like we had the most intense group of people. We talked shit like right to each other's faces, make fun of each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you're always trying to get ahead of them, like by making fun of yourself and pointing out the things that you know suck about you. It's like
the greatest.
And that's how you become, I think, just like aware of how garbage you are.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know I'm garbage.
Yeah.
Dan does too.
I'm fully aware that I'm garbage.
That's why we can make fun of each other and like all this stuff and not have our feelings hurt. But I was so surprised when I found out that like 4chan was a thing and people were like trying to protect themselves in like some kind of underground thing. I was like, that's not that real.
Yeah.
Like nobody cares, dude. It's like we draw trolls and like knights. Like really? Like nobody cares. Like there's no art directors looking at what you do and being like, did you hear what he said?
Did you hear it?
Oh my God.
I know.
He said he doesn't like this artist that I don't know.
Yeah, it's
because they're not celebrities.
It's real dumb. It's real dumb. The work that Paizo gives, is it constant, as Christian Benson? The answer is no. Basically, well, okay, that's not entirely true. basically, if you're a person who's really reliable for Paizo and you do really high quality work, they'll give you pretty consistent stuff. Like if you're doing covers and interior illustrations, you're on a short list. Basically, there's 3 tiers of people that work for Pathfinder. There's people that do the bottom level stuff, which is like the item assets and the portraits, and then there's people that do the pawns, because the pawns pay more, and the monster stuff, and then there's people that do illustrations and cover illustrations. If you're one of the top tier people, you're probably going to get a lot of work. Even if you're a reliable pawn person, you'll probably get a lot of work. But the thing with Paizo is that it pays on a delay, because it's pay on publication, like a lot of RPGs. So for example, one time I worked for Paizo, I did a job in June, and I didn't get paid till the February after, because the project got delayed and it didn't get published till that following February. So I can't do the math in my head because I'm talking and playing a game, but many months later. So that's the other thing to keep in mind, is that when you do a job for them, you don't just get paid after you do the job. It's not money in your pocket. It's like what me and Dave used to call like phantom money. Where like Dave would call me and be like, well, technically I have $10,000, but I can't pay my $100 heat bill this month because I'm not getting any of it till March, and I'd have to like lend him money. And like he's done that for me too, because some companies pay with phantom money, and it's just how they do it.
Yeah, like when I was working for Paizo, I did a series of covers for like a bunch of their smaller books, and they were kind of like horror themed ones. I did like a Frankenstein and Lich and Dracula and stuff, or werewolf. And yeah, I didn't get paid for those for 6 months, I think was the turnaround, something like that, because they get you get paid upon publication, because they don't make enough money to always pay out. They
use the sales that the thing generates to end up paying you, and I've never heard of it going over a year. I think the longest I've ever heard of is maybe 10 months, but that's like the max I've ever heard Paizo. There's other companies where you have to like chase them to get your money, but a lot of them have gone out of business, so I don't really know who's still around.
Right. I Hate Art asks, have you ever had your art stolen by another artist? Not by another artist.
I've had it stolen by companies, not other artists, though.
I mean, I guess technically they're other artists, but they're usually from advertising places or something like that like will get paid to use, like on Facebook. I mean, mine's kind of tricky because most of the artwork that's been stolen of mine is like fan art stuff, so it's not like I can do anything about it. It just kind of happens. So the most I can do is point out how ridiculous it is.
Right. Talk about it online.
I mean, the rationale being that if they wanted me to do something that was fan art related, they could have just hired me to do it, which is the right thing to do. It's like, oh, you do that thing well, I want to hire you for that. So, like I've had my stuff used in like Facebook ads, like in the side column. You'll all see like the Skeletor I painted or Ninja Turtle or something. It'll be like zombie game, something like that. But I've never had my art stolen, I don't think, for anything like specifically.
I've had a lot of my stuff stolen randomly for like, I do a lot of design heavy stuff that's like line art based and just kind of like not illustrations where it's a scene, but more like, 2D kind of stuff. And I've had that stuff stolen for iPhone cases, for wallets, for t-shirts, for all kinds of shit, but it's all in Asia, and I can't do anything. I can't sue those, do anything to those people. So there's literally nothing I can do. If I sent them a letter, they probably wouldn't even be able to read it. So it's literally nothing. I've had other companies in the US, t-shirt company, I did this one coat of arms job a while ago that is the most stolen image I've ever done. I put it up. I used to do this thing where if I did big paintings, I'd put them up in decent resolution so people could look at details and stuff, because I just enjoyed doing that. And I don't really do it anymore because that coat of arms piece got stolen by probably 4 different companies. A vaping company stole it and branded an entire product line with it, like tens of thousands of things had it on it. A t-shirt company in England put it on 5 different t-shirts that sold hundreds of copies of the t-shirt. I saw it printed out at cons that people were selling canvas prints of it. And it's like, I'm really glad you like my coat of arms design. That's great. I wish any of that business was mine. I wish I could make any of the money off the thousands of sales that image trafficked. That'd be really fucking cool. But you know, it's good to know that people like your stuff. It's just unfortunate when you don't get your cut of the success. Like that's the bummer. Like
Antoine, Dan's been a part of the Vape Nation for a while now.
Oh yeah, it's true. Vape Nation. But no, yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's the weird mix of like emotions you get when you see those photos. Like I saw a photo from a con where someone had hundreds of prints of that image that were just printed on canvas, and he would, you know, there was a crowd of people at his booth buying stuff, and I was like, wow, that's really cool that that many people would be willing to buy my thing, and I want to murder this guy because he stole my thing. It's like a weird mix of like, oh, that's really cool, and I want to kill this guy.
Like, sorry, somebody on here has like their phone number as their username, and they asked a question. I'm not gonna say.
Can you ban them for their own good?
No.
All right.
Because obviously you put it out there.
All right.
I'm just gonna do 8004. Is asking for jobs from previous clients, does that make you look bad? I want to ask, but don't want to look desperate. No,
just never bad.
Like, just for me personally, like when the wedding was coming up, I reached out to a lot of clients that I had worked for before, and I was just like, hey, I'm looking
paying for a wedding
work, and I have a wedding coming up, and I was wondering if you have anything. Like, just be completely honest. Just say like, you don't have to say like I'm having a really rough time and my life's falling apart. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you don't have to say that. Just say, I've been looking for money and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's apparently the numbers from a song. All right. I didn't know the Mike Jones reference. But anyway, yeah, it doesn't make you look bad or desperate. But, I mean, whatever. If they liked your work, then they're going to be happy that you're willing to work again because they probably don't remember you.
The two words you used, bad and desperate, are very specific things. Bad is how you word the email, and desperate is how many times you send it. It's very specific. It's bad if you write the email like, hey, I need work now. Like, if you're like really rude, that's bad. Desperate is when you send them 6 emails in the course of 3 days because they didn't respond to you right away. That's desperate. Don't do that. Write it very politely. Let them know, like, oh, I'm looking for some work, and the way to word it is like, you're one of my favorite clients. I love working for you, and I'd like to see if you have anything else before I, contract out to other people. Like treat them like, I just wanted to check if you've got anything going on. I might be a good fit for before I, fill my schedule with these other people. Yep. And it's a good way to go about it. But if an art director doesn't get back to you within a week, that's okay. Don't send them multiple emails because then you become an asshole. They're very busy people.
Unimuli94 asks, hey guys, do you sometimes visit your hometown and get nostalgic meeting old friends?
No.
I don't get nostalgic. I mean, I get nostalgic for other stuff. I get nostalgic for like the woods behind my house.
Right.
Like if I go out there and it's like foggy and like it's fall, like that's nostalgia for me.
Sure.
Like because it's the Northeast and like the smell of everything.
Yeah, I was going to say that's all of New England in the fall makes me feel nostalgic.
Yeah. I mean, mostly because I'm out in Colorado, so like it's way different when I go back and like, smell everything again and see all the woods and everything. And that's like the cool nostalgia thing. But outside of that, the town, I mean, not everybody, obviously, but the town overall has kind of like the people that we knew.
Yeah.
Not like they're bad people, but there's a shadow over that whole Northeast of like meth and drugs and like all this bad stuff that's been going on and bad news and all kinds of things like that.
Just in my own personal life, I know 4 people that have died from, heroin or meth.
Yeah.
It's like it's everywhere up here for some reason. Most of the people that we hung out with in high school either got married and settled down so we don't see them too often, or they moved away. So it's like we don't really go back home to hang out with people because most of the people we hung out with aren't there anymore. But yeah, I mean, I like New England a lot. Like Dave was saying, especially in the fall, it makes me feel nostalgic, but I don't usually go back to my hometown. There's not really much there.
Yeah. I mean, where you live now, it's pretty much
I love it here.
It's like way better.
Way better. Still tons of meth and heroin, though. Crazy. It's like everywhere here. It's literally everywhere.
TOs asks, when are you guys planning to do portfolio reviews? I mean, if we do that, it won't be for a while, or whenever we have like
I'll do it once
a little bit more like independence, more time.
I'll start doing that once the Amazon stuff's over, maybe in a week or two, maybe in like 2 weeks. I have to get all the Kickstarter stuff done before I can start doing those streams, because I don't have the energy. Portfolio reviews take a lot of energy to like look at people's stuff and really think about it, because if anyone's ever seen our old stuff, we don't give quick portfolio reviews. We give like really long, in-depth ones, because that's just what we feel like people deserve. And you want to take a nap afterwards. But yeah.
Louise asks, Dave, I watched your art tutorial. How did you train your eyes to know when artwork looks done? When I reached the 4 hours, I was thinking, hey, it looks done to me, but you spend another 11 hours on the painting to finish. Well, I mean, like I said in the tutorial, it's really just a matter of me continually like telling myself I'm not done, because even though it looks kind of finished, it's probably not, and to keep going. I mean, it's nice to, in the beginning, it was nice to have benchmarks. Like I'd keep other artists' work in like my other monitor just to see like, you know, my favorite artists, when do they stop?
It was like a vision board.
Yeah.
Like what you want to do.
Yeah, like I always did that. Like in the beginning, I'd have other artists that I would like pull up and be like, when did they say they were done?
Right.
And until my artwork looks like that, I'm not going to stop. And it might look done to you, but I think if you have some kind of point of reference to, you know, look at it against, you can get a better idea of like where you're going. And nowadays, like I don't necessarily look at all these other artists to get to that point, but I still have that in my head of like, I know when I'm not done, because I've done it so many times that I just kind of am like, okay, I need to keep going. And even when something feels like comfortable, like, oh, I could stop and put it online and I could share this because it looks okay, that's not enough. Like I need to continue to push it. I need to continue to like work through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's all a balancing act of like, you know, the forms, the contrast, the, you know, the focus of the piece. Like everything needs to kind of be working together, and you know, have the right kind of initial look. Like when you look at it, you go, oh, hey, that's finished because I'm looking at the points I'm supposed to look at, and they have a nice polish and things are blending away. There's not like you know, like under paintings showing through, any kind of thing like that. But I mean, you more or less feel it out as you go and as you challenge yourself.
There's a gang of motorcycle men outside.
Nerd Vanquisher asks, you ever visit that guy you tried to motivate at that party who told the bad jokes?
Oh, God.
No, I mean, I love James, but I haven't seen James in like years.
Oh, James Levy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it.
I was telling them the story about how I was giving him like when I started studying, and I was like super into it, and I was trying to get everybody to like do something with their lives.
I remember that.
And I talked to James, and he was like dreading it the whole time. And then he went inside after I told him, I was like, just try and do like stand up or something. It's like, you're funny. Like you could do something. And then he went inside the party and did one joke in front of everybody.
I remember you telling me this when it happened.
He just walked in and told a stand-up joke, and it didn't make any sense out of context.
Oh.
And it just bombed.
Yeah, because that was the thing, is like...
He like announced it to the group, so everybody stopped talking to each other.
James is like context funny.
Yeah, like he's like really good in a conversation, really fast. But he was drunk, so that's why it happened.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Cypher, what would you say as a starting artist would be the minimum? Okay, wait, I think I read that wrong.
Yeah,
what would you say as a starting out artist would be the minimum needed to the optimum?
I don't know what that means. Minimum work to get optimum results? Like, or like the right number of pieces, or like what's the question?
He's asking how much optimonium do you need to mine in order to become success?
SCV complete?
Uh, I mean, I'll just answer what I think you should do. I would just say that you need to have a well-rounded portfolio in the beginning because you're reaching for everything. Like you're trying, like let's say like three different clients that you could maybe work for, and
Yeah.
you see the people that are working for that company, like you see what kind of products they put out or whatever in the art that's on them. It's like aim for that and
Mm-hmm.
aim for those, few different things. Because chances are people aren't just going to find you at that level. So you need to be aiming at other things. So, like, the minimum is whatever they are already producing. Try and recreate, your version of that. So that's what I used to do is I would target like a company or two or three or whatever. And whenever I got a job doing anything else, I would tailor that job's work to the next job that I wanted to get. And I would like overwork. I would do more work than I was being paid for so that I could hopefully, bring it up to that next level and get the next job. So, yeah, I mean, you want to just go all out, see if you can develop something to the point where, it looks like it could be used by the company you're aiming for. Send it off to them, and that's going to be the real, minimum needed to get work.
Mm-hmm. How do you guys recommend balancing learning anatomy, applying it, and working on personal work? How long is the time between studying and applying? I feel like I'm spending too much time on the learning aspect. I want to be a character designer, character-based illustrator. Well, you're making a classic mistake that a lot of people make, where you're thinking that the studying and the applying are separate things that you do at separate times, and they really shouldn't be. It's not like you study for a month, then you do personal work the next month. You should be doing those things in the same day. You should, study anatomy before you go do a character design, and then take the stuff you learned that morning on the anatomy and apply it to the thing you do in the afternoon. Like, do it all at once. So the stuff you're learning is actually getting used, because the science of how the brain works, the more you use the stuff you're learning, the more you're going to remember it. That's the point of applying the studies. So, like, don't be afraid of doing work that you don't think is up to par. That's totally fine. Like, you should be applying that stuff all the time. You should be applying it right now.
Yeah, I mean the key to this is bombing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like application is like the biggest part for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like you already said, anatomy, applying it, working on personal work. It's like whatever it is that you're doing, do the study for that thing and then apply what you learned over and over and over forever. And eventually you'll be pretty good. You'll get better. You just got to be consistent. Christian asks, should your portfolio demonstrate different styles? Only if, you have like a general thing that you put out there. But if you're sending work to a client specifically, then tailor it to them.
Yeah.
I never sent just anything to people. I always sent stuff I thought that they could use. Like I would, if I, reached out to D&D, I sent over only my fantasy stuff that was kind of realistic. I never sent out any kind of anime stuff, no cartoony stuff. I had plenty of that, but I never sent it because it just didn't apply to them. Don't just send anything. Send focused stuff to the people that you want to work for.
Right.
Because, it just won't work otherwise.
I'd go as far as to say, like, unless you're specifically working for an outsource house that has tons of different clients with tons of different styles, you probably shouldn't do that to your portfolio, because in most cases people hire people to do specific things they know that they can count on them to do. That's how you kind of like develop a name for yourself. Be like, oh, like I'm one of these people that you can rely on to do this kind of thing. Like, there's not many artists I can think of. I don't know if there's any artists I can think of who are literal like jack of all trades people who actually get a lot of work. There's
I can only think of like Mike Butkus.
He's a character guy.
No, but I'm saying like he can do any style.
Oh well, it's always realism, but yeah, like 9 times out of 10, it's like his.
But I'm saying like he does
stuff.
He does Barbie.
Right.
He does like all the Disney stuff. He does.
Dude, I just lost the battle.
Everything like that, like, but that's a high level thing. Like if you're in it depends, because if you were in something like advertising, then it would pay to be able to do a lot of stuff, especially if you want to, like, if you're around it and you're not just like a freelancer and you know a company or something, like, you'll be missing jobs if you can't do that other stuff potentially. Like, I work for Fox. They wouldn't necessarily hire me to do Ice Age sketches for the posters
Right.
because I don't draw that stuff. If I did, if I were like a Mike Butkus, they might hire me to do that. But I don't. I usually do realism or kind of like comic booky stuff, whatever. So they hire me almost specifically for that. So I do miss out on certain jobs. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I don't think you should worry about that. It's like, show what you can do, and if you feel like you want to show more later on, then you got to really like dive in and hopefully expand your portfolio to do something more in line with what you like. If you find out that maybe you tailored your portfolio to the realism thing and it's not you. But yeah, I think that, I don't know, it's better to be known for one thing and known for doing it well than it is for doing everything, because you'll get paid more if you're a specialist.
Right. Yeah, really, there's not many people that do everything and pull it off.
And like live
Because
comfortably.
it's hard
whatever.
to, the amount of time it takes to get good at one thing is so long that, like, it's really hard to get good at multiple things. Like, you can be mediocre at multiple things, but then, like, you're not making much money anyway.
Yeah, and then maybe one day you'll be like, what's his face, doing all the movie posters that isn't Mike Butkus.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He'll be doing a Muppet Treasure Island and shit like that.
Struising it up.
Yeah, you'll be Drew Struzan.
I lost the battle. Redoing the battle. Had a hole in my defense, guys. I'm ashamed. It's okay, though.
Jane Katsuba asks, what do you think about the French comic industry?
We know not much about it.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about specifically like the French comic industry, but I'm a big fan of a lot of French comics, mostly like the style. We don't read a ton of comics, but
Yeah.
I'm always looking at comic art. Like, ever since we started doing Steve, I've been, just kind of like devouring that stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of all the different styles, the way people tell stories, the different kind of like, the different kind of language that's used, like body language, like storytelling language, like any kind of thing like that's visual. I love seeing how people do the same kind of thing over and over and over and make it their own. Yeah, French comics there are so celebrated that there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of like really cool stuff. There's a lot of adult stuff. It's just that it's taken more seriously, like it is in Japan.
Yeah.
You have like this huge industry for it. So there is a ton of stuff over there that, I don't know. I wish I had more access to it, because I always hear stories about people going over to like Angoulême and like walking into a comic book shop and just having there be like tons and tons of shit that never comes over here in the US. I would love to see all that, but yeah, not a ton of exposure. Just stuff I see on Tumblr and things.
Yeah.
Mantis Butkus asks, hey guys, I just started getting work and I feel like I'm not doing enough personal work for my portfolio. Do you think it's okay to post my client work publicly, or just send them directly to the people I want to work for?
Well, first off, check your contract and make sure you're allowed to, because depending on the company, you might not be allowed to. But it's always okay to post client work if you want to post it. It's up to you.
If it's released in the public already, like if you've done the work, the products come out and it exists, then I would say you can probably share it. But if you feel like there's any kind of question of whether or not, then you definitely want to reach out to them, because, at the end of the day, they're hiring you to do a thing. And if you do something in bad taste, it's like, then they might not hire you again. You want to make sure that you keep a good relationship, especially if you enjoy the work that you did enough to want to post it online. Then make sure that you ask them.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, most stuff, unless it's not out yet, can be shared. But if you're not doing enough personal work, I don't know. I mean,
You kind of just have to either make time to do it, or like one thing me and Dave used to do, we don't really do it anymore, thank God, is like we'd say, okay, June is just going to be client work. I'm going to do so much client work for the month of June, and then I'm going to take like July and August off and just do my own thing. Like we'd binge client work and buy ourselves a personal work vacation.
yeah. And that's what we did for the first Steve book. Was just, the only way we're going to get Steve done is if we eat them alive.
Basically buy ourselves a year off by working nonstop and saving up.
Yeah, like I worked on a whole bunch of stuff for like Fox. I did tons of ad work, and I just was like nonstop doing that to hopefully save up enough money.
I did like 5 Kickstarters that year.
Yeah.
I did so much goddamn work. I mean, like, I have the same problem you're talking about in the chat, though, because, like, I've done, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how many miniature paintings I've done in the past year for this company I work for, and it's in the hundreds. It's a lot of work, and I've shown none of it because it's not work that it's in their style, and a lot of it is them taking a photograph of a miniature that already exists and me altering it to be something new so it already looks like the sculpt. And, like, that work doesn't look like my style, so there's no reason for me to throw it on Facebook and be like, oh, look at this thing I created, because it's less creative and more like, yeah, I executed a task. And it's not something I want to put out there because I don't want to get tons more of those jobs. Like, I'm happy with where I'm at with this company, and I don't need to show it as like a lure to get more stuff. So there isn't a purpose to show it, so I'm not going to show it. You know what I mean? Like, if there isn't a reason to show it, then you don't really have to. But yeah, other than, my portfolio is bigger, but it's, it's more about the few things you're choosing to show over the quantity.
Yeah, I mean, when I wanted to make my personal stuff more of my work stuff, what I would do is just spend a ton of time building up a portfolio of fan art that was in the style of the personal work I enjoyed. And then I would put that out and, send it to places, send it to blogs, send it everywhere I could. Just say, like, I don't know if you're interested in this, but I did a whole series of things, and, I think you might like it. And hopefully they share it. And then I get work that's more in line with what I want to do, because I put something out that would be popular enough in the, in pop culture in general to get me things that are going to reflect what I want to do. But outside of that, you kind of just have to like if there's a style you want to do, then you just want to do it, like ask or do 2 versions of the thing you're going to do. Say, like, this is my style. I don't know if there's something you'd be interested in. Do it in your style first. Take a hit on that and do 2 different versions of it. And then ask if they like it or whatever. Like, I did that for my client work. I worked for Amazon, and I went, like when I was doing the concepts for them, I did them in my new style, my like Starvale stuff. And they at first were like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then when I finished them, they were like, yeah, we really like this. This is cool. So, yeah, I mean, you never know. But whenever I feel like switching something up, I like to put feelers out there, do a series of things in that style and hopefully gain some traction with it, show them like what it would look like if I were to work for you, kind of thing.
Well, another funny thing, like Mono Art just said, honestly, I'd love to see the art, Dan. I get it, though, that you're super busy. The other thing that I've mentioned it on streams before, but I didn't just now, is that the other weird thing I do for a lot of these jobs, and this is the strange thing where whatever you end up doing with your art on the internet, a job is going to find you that needs that skill set, which is the weird, like, the space will expand to fill the room it's in kind of logic of being in the art community. But, like, because I did so many paint over streams back in the day, and I did so many portfolio reviews where I would take someone's work and paint over it and show them things they could do with it and style match so they could like see what it would look like, I started getting jobs doing that, which I didn't even know existed. And
yeah, just an art director, basically.
Basically, yeah. But the other weird thing is that with the miniatures company, another big reason I don't put the work in my portfolio is because they hire me to do really crazy stuff I didn't know existed, where they'll have a drawing that Steph Kapinski did of like a crazy troll or whatever with a big weapon. and they'll say, we want to get rid of the weapon, put armor on the troll, and give it a new weapon, but Steph can't do the job because he's too busy right now. Can you match Steph's style and make it look like he painted it on top of this painting? And I do tons of that because I'm one of the only people on their team that has experience style matching from doing paintovers on live stream. So this crazy job that's super specific to me, just because of the live streams we used to do for Critters, appeared out of nowhere. And I'm not going to put that work in my portfolio because it's painted on top of a painting Steph Kopinski did in Steph Kopinski's style. Mm-hmm. But I do that all the time for this company with tons of artist styles. I've worked in like 20 different people's methods to match their stuff and make it look like they did this painting that they didn't have time to do. And, you know, clearly I'm not going to show that. That's something I cannot put in my portfolio. But I do a ton of it. So it's really, really weird. It's like, I can't add it to the portfolio, but it's really consistent work, and it's, you know, it's a weird job that I never even knew was out there.
There's a good question in here. Tio asked, how do you prepare character design for presentation? I want to say this specifically. If you're doing character design, think about it a lot. Think about what a character is. Think about why a character is interesting. Think about like characters you've seen in TV shows, movies, comics, whatever, video games. Like, think of how important posture is, attitude, everything. It's like you have to, like the thing I see so often is these dead-on characters that don't have any character. You know, like they have a design, there's a design to them, but they have no personality. There's nothing to them that is them. So when you're showing off a character, like whenever you see concept art done for games and it's like the isometric thing where it's like front, side, back, you know, that's done for a modeler to take and make, you know, into a 3D model. It might look cool to you, you know, like set up like that, you know, looks legit. But you don't want to do that for your character presentation. You want to show that you can design characters that are not only like just this standalone concept, but they're illustrating what this person's like or what this monster or whatever is like.
Right.
So you want to put some attitude into it. You want to put some, you know, you want them to be like doing something that is evocative of that character, the kind of person they are.
It's a huge part of why Overwatch was so successful is because right out of the gate, all their character designs and the poses they put them in instantly conveyed, this is this person, this is how they act.
Yeah, you want to do something that's like showing their attitude, that's showing like, you know, if this, like you could, like when you look at the image, you want to see them walking around, talking, doing their thing. Like you want to get that vibe from it. That'll show a character better than anything.
It's another one like Capcom. You can tell how the characters in Street Fighter fight just by looking at the static image of them. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, it's that guy. I know how they fight right now. Like, oh, I know Chun-Li's going to do a lot of kicks. Like, you can tell.
Yeah, so think about that when you're doing a character design for a presentation. You want to just show them in, like I did a whole series for, if you want to see mine, go to, well, I can actually just put the link in the chat. I'll do that real quick. But I did a whole series, and the whole idea was that, you know, I'm not doing anything that's going to specifically be used in the game. It's just an idea. So if you're just doing an idea that's supposed to, you know, convey a design, then you don't need to go and do like the really static stuff. So if you take a look at that link right there that I just dropped in the chat, that's a character that I just posted up the other day. And I pretty much just had free reign, but that's how I present my concepts usually, is just some kind of idea of who they are. You know, and I have a bunch of examples of that on my Facebook from my concepts that I did. You just want to do something to show beyond just a design, because a lot of people are too focused on the design and the rendering and things like that.
Yeah. While you're dropping links, someone who I can't find in the chat asked if they missed the Steve book, can they still get it? And if you want to put the mailing list in the chat to promote it, that'd probably be a good idea.
Okay. Everybody,
sorry, I didn't see your name. I saw the question. I can't find the name now.
Here is the link. It's the eepurl.com. You see that in the chat. You can click that and subscribe to our newsletter. We won't bother you. We'll only send you an email when our Kickstarter goes live, and you can pre-order the book, but we're not going to like send you a bunch of stuff.
Yep. It's only for that. It's only when stuff goes on sale.
Yep. The second edition of book 1 is coming out in the next Kickstarter, as well as book 2. Book 1 is 252 pages. Book 2 is closer to 400. So if you click that link, you can subscribe, and then we'll let you know. Both of them will be available. You can buy them at the same time. And they're pre-orders, so they'll be shipping next year. But this is the only place they're available. So for the time, to get the stickered version of book 2, first edition, where you sign and number all of them.
Yep.
And they're, special. They have unique stuff in the back. And you can check it out there.
Still don't know who got book 1, if anyone got book 1. Like the number 1 copy of the book.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw somebody who got like number 2.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I think it was on either Twitter or Instagram.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I saw this question earlier, and I thought it was weird, and I want to talk about it because it is something that's happening. Do you see the one by Lungcell about clients adding you on Facebook?
Yeah. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, if you could.
It says, I have a client at the moment who added me on Facebook and WhatsApp. I get regular messages about updates, and I find it stressful because they can see I've seen their message, whereas emails give me some breathing room. Is it common to have your clients on instant messengers? No, not usually.
Yeah, sometimes they add you on Skype, not often though. Like maybe 50% of the time.
If there's anything you can do to avoid that, to like just not have them be there, like then do that. If you can go invisible, or you just don't check their messages, or just say like, I don't check this very often. Could you please send me an email?
Make a page for your art and make a page for you as a person, and don't check the messages on the art page maybe.
Yeah, you really want to keep that isolated. Just say like, and one thing that I would say that I have done is I just say like, I pretty much like only use this for friends and family. It's be like all my business I try and keep in email so that I can keep everything organized and I know where to check back for updates and things, like, because otherwise it's too hectic for me to scroll through messages all the time. Like just say like, could you, it's the same thing as like getting an update in a conversation. Like whenever you talk to a client, you want to, at the end of it, just be like, just to make sure I have everything down, could you please send me an update and an email with everything that you'll need that we talked about during this conversation? Because I want to make sure I get to all of it. And, it's the same difference as like taking notes. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have it all sitting in a messenger. So if you can briefly just tell them like, in order to better keep track of everything that you need, it'd be much easier for me to do it in an email. That'll, it's an easy, safe way of saying like, please stop messaging me on here.
Yeah.
Because that really is the pain, and you don't want somebody breathing on your neck the whole time you're working, telling you everything you should be doing at all times.
Just tell them that you rarely check your messages because you get so many people asking for whatever, and then don't click their messages anymore.
Yeah. Andre MFP asks, hey guys, I usually do light studies, but while doing it, sometimes I feel I'm just copying what I see. What is your thought process normally when doing these kind of studies? Thanks.
Don't look at like how light's hitting like a vase or something, just as an example, or an orange. Actually think about the orb. Like think about the actual object and why the light's curling around it that way. Look for colors and try to figure out why the colors are there. Like, if in the shadow it looks bluer, why does it look bluer? What's actually causing that? Like, go like a step deeper in the study, and don't just replicate. Actually try to understand why the stuff looks the way it does, because then you can take that and apply it to any number of things later.
Yeah, you want to think of things in shapes, textures. Like, you want to like see how it absorbs light. How the light, either blends across it. Like if you hold your hand in front of a light, like how it shows through that subsurface scattering, they call it. The light like bounces around under the skin and glows kind of through it. So like all different kinds of materials will react differently to lighting. So study all those different things, have that kind of in your head when you're going into doing your own work. But as far as lighting and just not copying what you see, in order to do it naturally, what I would say is you don't want to look at every single. Okay, so I'm looking at a cup right now. And just do it with me. Like wherever you are right now, look at an object that's near you, like something the size of a can or a cup. Just look at it and look at one specific spot on it that you would look, like a high point of contrast, if there is one, if you have a light on it or something. If you don't, then I would suggest for your studies, just to give you a bit more focus, that you do turn on a light and put it on it. So look at the point of contrast and only look there. Even when you're painting things that are at, like, let's say it's at the rim of the cup. Even if you're painting something at the base of the cup, paint that base from the perspective of looking at that highlight on the rim of the cup. Don't look at the base. Don't change your perspective every time you look back at the study. Don't change your focus every single time, because that won't make it feel natural. That'll make it feel like you're just looking everywhere all at once. That is something you can do, but I would suggest that if you're studying like forms and how to like render away from a spot to get that kind of realistic edge control and things like that, that you focus on the natural point of contrast, the thing that you would look at.
Yeah.
And you render away from that by only looking at that thing when you're rendering everything else, because it gives you the illusion of looking at it through your own eyes, so that when you go into doing like a painting of a monster or something, or whatever it is that you're doing from your imagination or from a piece, that you're working from like that kind of idea.
Yeah, it's not studying what's there and copying it one for one. It's studying how your eye is seeing the thing there. And like, how do you use how your eye is seeing it to recreate it? Like, that'll help a lot with just saving time too, because you're not rendering tons of useless stuff. But yeah.
Now
hey,
I'll
Elaine.
scroll back down through
Elaine's a fan of yours. Hello, Elaine.
Elaine, hello.
Or Elaine. I'm sorry if I said it wrong.
Or Elaine. Hi, how are you? I know we're friends on Twitch. We got beautiful Twitch requests, friends, other people who are on here. They've been supporting us. You guys are all awesome. We really appreciate it. The welcome that we had on here is just crazy. We've had a ton of like people reaching out and saying, here's what you could do to, help your Twitch stream and all this. It's like nobody's asking for anything in return. It's just, I don't know, really cool community on here.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you.
Been
Love to
super
you
great.
all. Yeah, we have a bunch of questions.
Sorry, man.
Anton asks, have you told the story about getting framed for stealing a bunch of money from that old pizza place job already? No, we have not.
It's a pretty quick story. I mean, it's a follow-up to the Wallman story. So if you were there for that, then you're already going to know all the key players. But I don't know. Should I go into that, or should we save that?
I
know, right?
I don't know, because then we'd have to tell the backstory. Yeah. I guess you could just say that. I guess you could just tell a synopsis of what happened to you.
Synopsis. Boring synopsis. This won't be an hour long. Okay. Basically, there's a guy who works at the pizza place, who's a manager, who's an he's a basketball player and he was popular in high school, and he's like, he thinks he's the shit and everything, and he loves American Pie movies and all that stuff, and he's just the stereotypical guy who was the shit in high school, he thought, and who never grew past that. And anyways, if you listen to the Wallman story, you know already that he's sleeping with an underage girl who also works at this pizza place, and that he's hiding in her wall, living at her parents' house. Anyone who didn't hear that story is asking what the hell's going on right now, because that is insane, and yes, it is completely insane. So anyways, basically, he starts asking to be put on for closing, and nobody wants to close because you're stuck at the store till midnight. So he starts requesting to be put on for closing because, he just doesn't have anything going on lately, and, he'll take one for the team, and I don't mind closing. You guys all got families and whatever. So no one really questions it, and he starts closing. And then he starts requesting, I need, one of the top drivers or whatever. So it's between me, Dave, and our other friend, Dave, to close with me. So it's down to us and this kid, Alex. And I need someone reliable who can close the store and do all the things necessary to close the store with me. And over time, I think because he was kind of scoping out how we all acted, he eventually said, yeah, I'm gonna, like, Dan, would you want to close more often? And I was like, I'm fine with it. I get more tips when I close anyway because I'm the only person driving, so it's fine. So I start closing with this guy all the time. And then randomly, because we didn't know he was sleeping with the underage girl yet, he starts letting her hang around where she's not on the clock and she's not getting paid, but she's got nothing else to do that night. So she's going to hang out and help close the store. How nice. How nice and cool of her to do that. Wow. Wow. So anyway, this starts happening. And eventually, I don't know if anyone's ever worked at a place where you have to do cash drops, but at the end of the night, the protocol is, if you work at a chain pizza place, they take the money out of the cash register, and then the driver who stayed follows the manager to the bank after the store has been closed, and you watch them put the money in the thing. The idea being that you have a way less of a chance of someone mugging the guy and stealing all the store's money because two people are going to drop it off, and there's, a space between them, as opposed to one person, kind of risking everything to do it. Mm-hmm. So eventually he starts saying to me, like, hey, you know what? It's gonna, I would come back and conveniently things would be wrong. And I didn't think anything of it because I wasn't suspecting the guy at this point. Conveniently, like, oh, you know what? I didn't clean the make line. Or, oh, you know what? I didn't clean the oven. It's going to take forever. I'm probably going to be here till 2 a.m. because I didn't have time to do that. I'll tell you what, the girl's not doing anything tonight. She already told me her parents are okay if she stays out late. I'll close the store with her, and why don't you just head home and stuff, because it's going to take forever. So this starts happening, not all the time, because he knows what he's doing, surprisingly, but enough that once or twice a week...
Pepper it in there.
Yeah, once or twice a week I'd come back at 12, and at 12 the store should be pretty much ready to close. And conveniently, oh, I didn't mop yet. Oh, no, we got slammed with a bunch of walk-ins while you were out delivering, and, I just didn't have time to clean the floor. You should go home. You should go home because it's going to take a while, and I'll hang around here. And then suddenly, I think it was $3,000. Aaron, our boss back there, who was a friend of ours, called me into the office, and he said, like, like, Dan, I need you to be really honest with me. And I was like, what happened? Because I could tell right away it was really serious. And he goes, like, we're missing $3,000 from Saturday, and this is like grand larceny. This is a big deal. Is there any chance that the money got left in your car when you did the drop-off? Did you forget to go to the bank? Did you absolutely put it in the drop box? Like, I'm not accusing you, but I am accusing you. Like one of those conversations where, like, hey, I know we're friends and stuff, but are you fucking me? Like, one of those...
I'll break your fucking
yeah,
legs.
One of those, like, I want to like you, but I've been hurt before, so, like, So anyways, Tara just turned into an Esper. It's a great moment of the game. I'm ruining it. Anyway... So, I said, well, what do you mean? I didn't go to the bank. And he freaks out and he goes, you didn't go to the bank? I said, no, I didn't go to the bank. And he said, it's mandatory for you to go. Someone has to accompany the manager to the bank. He was like, you're supposed to drop the money off, and, either you drop it off or Bobby drops it off and the other one watches. And I was like, yeah, but the past few weeks, a couple times a week, I haven't been going to the bank because the girl, whose name I'm not going to say because I don't want people to know who she is, the girl has been going to the bank with him instead of me.
Wallman.
Huh?
With Wallman.
With Wallman. Yeah, we didn't know that was happening yet either. So basically, he says, like, so you're telling me that you haven't been going? And I said, no, I haven't been going. And he said, well, that's really interesting, because manager Wallman told me that he's been sending you to the bank alone because you've been offering to take the money to the bank alone because the store hasn't been getting closed on time and you've been trying to help out. And I said, that's the complete opposite. He's been telling me that he didn't have time to close the store while I'm out on deliveries and asking me to go home because it's going to take till 2 a.m. And he said, well, that's what he said about you, and it seems a little convenient that you'd be saying the exact same thing. So now he's accusing me of taking the story the other manager said and flipping it on me, and just me absorbing it and reflecting it back like, I didn't do it, he did it. Like one of those things. Like, I'm not, you are. Like one of those. So... it takes a while. He honestly thought that I might have been robbing the store for, like, a couple days until he basically set up a sting where he was like, okay, Dan, the next time it happens, you tell me. And until it happens, I'm going to close the store with him. Like, I'm going to offer to drive. I'm going to, like, hang around and stuff. So I tell him the next time it happens, and conveniently, he shows up. And he goes, "Oh, Dan's out on delivery? Oh, that's weird. I was just driving by. I figured you could use a hand close in the store." And so, oh God, this is where I got to bring Dave in for the second part of it, because I remember up to this point, because Aaron starts coming in and closing the store with Bobby and basically watching him like crazy, watching him. Like, I'm allowed to drive till the store closes, but I'm not allowed to close the store with him. Basically, like, get out of here, we'll figure this out. So anyways, he steals another $1,500. I know that part, and this is where Aaron basically set up a sting. Where, like, you're like, "Oh, you're going to take the money to the bank? Oh, okay. Oh, how nice of you." And, like, follows him with his lights off and sets up a sting.
Furious.
Huh?
Just furious.
Yeah, just furious the whole time, because he, like, But basically, long story short, Aaron sets up a sting, catches the guy in the act of stealing the $1,500, where he literally, goes to the bank, parks his car, walks out, walks up to the thing, doesn't put anything in it, walks back to his car, drives away. And, and even after that, like, that was when he got fired, right?
I think
I'm
so.
pretty sure that was the thing that did it.
Yeah, he had to be fired after that.
Yeah.
It's like the manager dude. He
So we got it a little out of order. So we had to know that the sleeping with the girl thing was happening then, because if that got him fired, then
he got let off from that. That was what drove us crazy.
Right.
Because the thing that we forgot to say on here, which I'll say now, was that the parents were okay after they found out he was in the wall.
Yeah, they were like, "Well,
somehow.
He's a good man." It's like,
what?
He loves their daughter very much. Like,
what?
So anyways, this guy set me up and then stole the money, stole about $5,000 total. And what he would do was our boss Aaron would call him in and go, "Hey, there's money missing. What happened?" And he'd go, "Oh, what? There's money missing? Dan offered to take it to the bank last night. Wow, I guess you should ask him." Like, and he was just pocketing it. And that was, oh my God, man. It was just like, and that was the other thing, is he would ask me to do stuff that drivers weren't supposed to do, so it would leave him alone in the office to take money out of the drop box.
Yep.
Because he'd be like, "Well, Dan, I guess you're cleaning the make line tonight." And I'd go, "Drivers don't do that, managers do that." And he said, "I'm your manager and you're going to clean the fucking make line." Like, he would just like get so mad at me. And I go, "Bobby, no, I'm not, that's literally not my job description. I'm not going to do it. I close the front of the store. You do the make line, you do the fridge, you do the, the stuff in the office." And he would get, I think that's why he chose me to get fired, is because I was the person who was like, "No, I'm not going to do that." And he was like, "Well, I have to get rid of Dan, because if I can get rid of Dan, I can steal every night." Because I was the only one who was like, "No, I'm not going to leave you alone in the office. You're cleaning the make line with me out. Like, I'm not doing it." But anyway, Long story short, got framed for it, almost got fired for it. Really great guy. Solid guy.
Can we talk about Jack Trader's thing? I'm going to read this to everybody.
Do it up.
Jack Trader in the chat says, he said, "What were some of the worst things you've experienced while studying to be a working artist? I paid $5,000 to be mentored under an artist, under a popular dude in this industry," he says. "I paid in advance, but had to back out later after 2 months due to transportation issues, back and forth from Chicago. He kept the money. I'm not a working artist."
Back from Chicago. Oh, I know who it is. I think I know who it is if it's Chicago.
So this artist didn't give you a refund.
So wait, okay, so he paid $5,000 to be mentored. For how long?
I don't know the extent of I don't know what the 5,000 went into, but I'm guessing maybe it was a 5-month thing.
If it was a 5-month thing and you did 2, you should have got at least half of it back. That's the decent thing to do. If it was 5,000 for 3 months and you did 2, then he's probably in the right for not giving you a refund. But we don't know how long the duration of the thing you paid for was supposed to be.
That's insane, though. I mean, if that's like flat out what it is.
Yeah, you should have got something back. 100%.
Wow. That's $5,000 is ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, for mentorship, that's fucking crazy.
Out of this world. What Jack Trader says it was for 2 to 3 months.
But
$5,000 for 2 to 3 months
is
okay.
crazy. Well, okay, that's crazy. But here's the thing.
I think he's backing out because he couldn't make it there. Like he must have missed it. Like I'm guessing I paid in advance, but had to back out later after 2 months due to transportation issues. I'm guessing during that process he couldn't make it.
But wait, if it was for a 2 to 3 month thing and you backed out at the 2 month mark, am I understanding that right or am I misunderstanding?
I don't know. We have a delay in the chat.
It says 2 to 3 months. He just posted it, and the original said that after 2 months he had to bail. Right?
But
5,000's crazy no matter what. I completely agree that paying a guy $5,000 for 2 months of mentorship is crazy. But if you did agree to pay them that amount of money for 2 to 3 months, and you did 2 months of it, then quit, he doesn't have to give you a refund. He could be nice and give you a third of it back, technically, but you did use more than 50% of the thing you paid for. Like, I know that's an unpopular thing to say because
Jack says I backed out after 2 to 3 months. How long was the extent of this? Well, how long was it supposed to be?
Yeah, okay, that's the magic number we need.
Yeah, how long was this?
Yeah,
4 months is what the plan was.
So you should have got 50% back,
or at least a quarter if you did 3 months.
Yeah, you should have got 25 to 50% back, no matter what.
That's intense. $5,000.
That's crazy.
For 4 months.
I mean,
for one person.
I'm not going to care if you drop a name in the chat, but that's ridiculous.
I mean, that's on you for whatever you think is right.
But if someone out there is charging $5,000 for mentorships and not giving refunds, and you'd like to share, that's fine.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's 5,000. Insanity.
We're in the wrong business. Take on a couple students, buy a house. Like,
I know.
Crazy.
For 4 months of work of just teaching.
That's $15,000 a year if you do it every 4 months, and that's with one student. So if you take 5 students, that's like $75,000 a year on mentorship for 5 fucking students.
Yeah, if you feel like this person's already been burned or something, or they don't do it anymore or something like that, then you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
But just in general, like,
guys, don't jump to assumptions. There's plenty of artists in Chicago. Trust me, I'm seeing names in the chat. Don't worry.
Wow.
Jack, please do tell me via private message. I promise I won't reveal it and do a witch hunt thing. I'm just curious. I don't want people to assume it's someone based on the city of Chicago and throw names in the chat because there's good people in Chicago.
We'll just tell people if they ever ask us specifically. Yeah, you probably don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'll say who it's not. If people go, is it this person? I'll go, no, it isn't. I'm happy to do that.
We'll just keep asking forever.
And then if people do guess right, I'll go, oh, I'm sorry, there was a glitch. Can you type that again? That's weird. It's not showing up.
Somebody got bingo.
If you get it right, if you get it right and it says seen and I just never respond, then you got it right.
Let me just say this about that in general. Like, don't do it. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Don't pay $5,000 for 4 months for any artist.
That's fucking crazy. 5,000.
That's almost when I was studying, I never paid for that kind of shit. It's like, that's crazy.
That's literally, I think it's literally $1,250 a month. That's rent. That's rent and utility. That's like an apartment and electric.
How about this?
Go ahead.
You could spend $5 and get my 15-hour tutorial. 15 hours.
Shameless.
That's 15 hours.
The guy's got a wedding coming up. Come on. Come on.
I mean, it's not $5. It's $10.
So here's the other thing. Here's the other question.
$10, 15 hours.
Jack Raider. Jack Trader. Here's the other question that I need. I need you to answer. Need it. Have to have it. How often a week would you have to go to this guy's studio? And when you were there, how many hours were you being mentored by him? I need to do the math to figure out what you were paying as an hourly wage. I have to have it. I need to know how it's already ridiculous. If it's one of those things where I would go there on Fridays for 3 hours, that's going to be so much fucking crazier than it already is. So, I just have to know. I need how often a week you went, and I need how many hours. Gotta have it. Anyways, buy Dave's tutorial.
Come on, buy the whole
Solid
collection.
tutorial. It's cheap. Come on.
$5 for 5+ hours on the other three? Are
What are
you
you?
kidding
Are you
me?
joking?
What?
What are you kidding?
That's a steal.
You're telling me for the cost of most gum roads, I can get 3 gum roads that are even longer with more commentary and information? What a steal.
That's right. That's right.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to fault artists for trying to do something.
No fucking way. Once a week for 2 to 3 hours max. So for 4 months, okay, that's 16 sessions. That's 16 sessions times 2 hours. That's 32
hours.
hours for $5,000. Can you quickly run the math into a calculator and figure out what the hourly rate is for that amazing mentorship opportunity, please, buy?
It's crazy that I can't do that math in my head.
I can't either.
No.
5,000 divided by 32. Let's hit it.
$156.
An hour?
Yeah.
We are in the wrong business.
So like a little over 300 a session, right?
Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, dude. Well, there you go. That's insane. What else costs that much besides like a lawyer?
Prostitutes.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, good call. Prostitutes are usually closer to like, well, I guess it depends.
Yeah, it's
on the,
more than that.
yeah, it depends on the quality. You can get anywhere from 50 to 400 probably.
Yeah.
There's a sliding scale in prostitution.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place.
Yeah. It's how about, it's like, how do they feel about themselves? How do you feel about yourself? There's a lot of factors.
I'm a handyman myself, so I save money.
If she knows she's not worth it, you can get it cheap, guys. Never pay full price. Anyways.
Never pay full price. Just you, just as Justin Timberlake.
I was hanging out with my nephew last week, and he went to get an ice cream from the ice cream truck. And as he was walking up to it, my aunt yelled at him, "Hey, Dylan!" And he turned around, and he's 5. He turned around and he said, "I know, Grandma, never pay full price." That was like, that's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing to teach a 5-year-old. I know, Grandma, never pay full price. Insane. He got a $1 ice cream for 80 cents.
When I was a kid, my dad used to make me do stuff like that. My dad haggled on everything, so I did too. When I was little, I would walk up with antiques. It was like part of his haggling strategy was to get me as a little kid to do it. I'd go up to the counter at the antique store with something he wanted, and I would have to, like, in my little kid voice, haggle with the lady that worked at the antique store and be like, "Well, could you do this?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, of course."
God.
My dad would be like, "Never make the first offer."
Jack
like,
Rader.
right.
Jack Rader, you gotta give me that guy's name. Gotta give me that name. PM. Send it to me in a PM. On here and Facebook. I just need to know so I can calm it down. Oh, man. $5,000. Wow. $130 an hour for a mentorship. That is nuts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gonna make that cash.
Let me just say this on the stream while we are here and we're gossiping. Okay. I mean, not that this has anything to do with that. We're not going to destroy this person.
No.
We won't do that.
We're not about that mob mentality. I just want to know if it's who I think it is because I've heard oddly similar stories.
We will occasionally destroy somebody.
Yeah.
Not today.
Not today. Today's a good day.
It's the day after the Sabbath.
Yeah.
I was going to say, for anybody in here, we got this next Kickstarter coming up for Steve Lichman book 2 and book 1. They're going to be together in there. But what I wanted to ask was if you guys had any suggestions for who we might send copies of the first book to get some coverage as far as like a review or something while the next Kickstarter is going on. We're asking Team Cream because we really didn't get much coverage last time, and we're hoping that people will be down to review it. We got a list of stuff like Kotaku, IO9, Easy Allies, some indie developers. We got like Pick of the Week, Bleeding Cool, Atop the Fourth Wall, stuff like that. So like podcasts, YouTube personalities, anybody that you can think of that might like the book if you've read it, or you like it and you listen to something that has a similar sense of humor or whatever. We'd appreciate it because we're doing our research now to hopefully sustain our lives.
It's exactly who we thought it was, Dave.
Oh, I don't know who it is.
Dave, is it because I look good?
Oh.
Is it because I dress great?
Uh-oh.
Anyway. Anyhow, now that all of my suspicions have been confirmed, and I'm not going to give the guy's name out, I am so sorry that happened to you, but please understand, you are about the third person I've heard that's happened to. Not the exact same thing, but you are not alone. And trust me, the guy's reputation has already taken a huge hit from it. So even though that's very little compensation for what you've gone through and the amount of money you've lost, just understand you're not alone, and people do talk about it. It is a known quantity. So
let me just say this to the chat. Borikua, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, for life. I appreciate that. We don't have Nerd Sync on here, do we? No, we don't. I don't know what that is. Do you know what Nerd Sync is?
No clue at all.
I'll write that down. I'm going to look into it. I mean, there's tons of stuff that we don't like watch or listen to, We're always just like working.
I can barely remember how to get out of Figaro Castle. I really can't remember how to do this. I know I gotta submerge, but how do I do it, guys?
I don't know. Pull levers and stuff.
The guy's not letting me do it.
Oh, no.
We'll figure it out. Guys, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. Team Cream knows everything. We got this. It's not... Guys, come on. It's not AJ. He doesn't even live in Chicago. Like, come on. Use the powers of deduction here. Like, come on. It's not AJ. Enough piling on AJ.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Final Fantasy VI.
Mm-hmm.
And chat. Hello. So Nerd Sync is a YouTube channel, and they do a lot of comic book stuff. They also have a podcast. Okay, great. Yeah, if you guys subscribe, we'll tell you the name.
Guys, come on.
I would love to have that.
Why
Just
would
that
you,
kind of garbage.
Why would you even assume it's Darkin? Darkin's got a great rep.
Yeah, Darkin's a nice dude.
Darkin's a super nice guy. It's not Darkin.
I mean, I guess everybody's kind of shitty.
That's true.
I mean, we're kind of shitty.
Yeah, we're shitty. That is true.
Like,
as many people also hate us and write 4chan threads about how we should die. I gotta keep that in mind.
No illusions here. Me and Dan are terrible people.
Oh yeah, we know.
Like, even us saying anything about this makes us terrible people.
Oh yeah, the fact that we chose to read that question on a stream
and get excited about it.
Yeah, and that we're still like even talking about it now and we haven't let it go is all the proof you need that we are terrible human beings who enjoy mob mentality and are cruel.
Like, who doesn't though? Like, who doesn't? Like, you'd be lying to yourself if you don't get a little excited when some kind of mob justice is dealt out. Like, maybe you're sane-ish and you can you're above that.
Wow, I literally just had to talk to the guy.
But the darkness inside of me is pretty palpable. I love it.
Well,
I love dipping in that.
When people do super shitty stuff, it
feels great.
It's the it's the righteous indignation thing, and I know that's not good, but it's like a free pass to let some of the steam off, and that isn't healthy. And me acknowledging that it's even a thing it bodes badly for me as a human being, but I can acknowledge it. A lot of people can't even acknowledge it. Like, I know that's a thing, and I know that that's a thing that when it happens to me, I'm like, ooh, let's make this person stop. But, like, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, it's nice. Sometimes. Adrian Bauer asks, what are your thoughts on sour cream? Like sour cream glazed donuts and straight up sour cream?
That's a... Sour cream glazed donuts is a thing?
I don't know. Sure.
Did someone ask that, or did you throw that in?
I'm going to have sour cream tonight.
In a donut?
No, chicken quesadillas.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty good, actually.
Got some salsa and some sour cream, and we're going to dip them in that. You know, when Kim gets back, it's going to be good. Going to eat all that.
Oh, boy.
Mike086. Have you heard of latex dolls? The men that dress as dolls? I have not heard of that.
The men that dress as dolls?
Dress as dolls. I know the sex dolls. I'm gonna write that down. Latex dolls. I'm gonna look into that.
I can't believe this is happening right now. All right, there we go.
All right. Let me see. No, we didn't see Suicide Squad. We did not.
Mm-hmm. Probably not seeing it.
Silk Drawing says, I love Dave Rapoza's use of big words. Palpable? I mean, I guess. I am very scholarly, though. You should know that by now.
There you go.
I'm well-read and very smart, so I'm going to use very large words.
If you want to hear 15 hours of Dave using big words, can I suggest buying his orc tutorial?
Only $10.
There's a lot of big words in there.
It's a taste of high society.
And it doesn't cost $5,000.
That's right. Is Mirrors555 asks, is there real sour cream in those donuts, though? I always thought it was just a weird name. Tastes like straight up sugar to me. I have never heard of sour cream donuts.
I haven't either.
That's the thing?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they use it like in the dough and then they just cook it in with the batter. That'd probably be pretty good. Yeah, like you put sour cream in like coffee cake.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
I didn't know
see that being good. In place of any cream when baking bread. Oh, okay, yeah, that would probably be pretty good then.
Tio asks, how would you make a schedule for doing a character design or one character design finished or more a week? Do you do thumbnails? What is your design process? For me, I basically just do like a whole bunch of sketches. I'll do a bunch of sketches of like, if I'm kind of winging it and trying to find a design and it's for a client, then I'll send that off. If it's for me, I'll do a bunch of sketches just on a piece of paper of like gestures and things and general silhouettes. And then from there, I'll take it into Photoshop. I won't like take the gestural drawings or things, but I'll go into Photoshop and I'll just start my final line drawing. And then once I do lines or, you know, just a loose sketch of like the pose and whatever, then I go in and I start rendering it. But yeah. That's pretty much it. It's like I just do like a base sketch to kind of get an idea down, just explore that a little bit. Nothing that takes a ton of time. I'll have like a thought of what it's going to be. You know, like if there's one major part of it that's kind of like, or like a few elements that are going to make up the character's overall feeling or look or whatever, I'll use those as a base to kind of grow from and keep pushing those ideas. Because usually, you know, with anything, even with stuff as simple as like the Steve characters that are in the book, and Steve Lichman, like they start out looking a certain way, but over the course of the book, their design will get more like streamlined or change a little bit, or
right.
You know, I'll correct as I go and try and make it read a little better. That's the kind of thing I try and do in a short term when I'm working on a character design for like a game or movie. I'll just keep doing sketches until I get through all of the bad ideas. Because even if you think something works because you just did it and you're happy with that one drawing, it's worth doing a handful more just to see if there's anything else there that you can go from.
Right.
But yeah, I would say that, you just want to have an explorative phase where you're not committing to anything 100%. And then once you think you have like a solid idea of something, then go from there and your rendered based off that.
We actually missed Jack Trader's question and got off in the weeds with with the hate.
It was just shocking, that's all.
Yeah, that was really something. We're so sorry that happened to you. But yeah, the question was, did anything like that ever happen to us? Like any bad experiences when we were studying, coming up and learning and things like that? I mean, I could say yes, in that all of art school was a waste of time and money and a huge shit show where I learned nothing. But it's not quite the same. It's like, it's not the same kind of shitty that you're describing. I mean, I had companies not pay me and steal my work and back me into contracts I didn't understand really early on. I don't think in terms of art education I ever got burned though by like an individual or something.
Yeah, I never I bought tutorials and stuff that I didn't like, things like small things.
Sure.
Where I'd be like, I wish this taught me more. But outside of that, I never took classes. I never did any kind of online classes, or I was never a part of like big study groups outside of Crimson Daggers. Mm-hmm. I was a part of like Bobby Chu's thing in the beginning. When he did his Chu stream. You guys remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, are you still getting money from that weird alien thing you did forever ago?
What was that? Oh no, that's done. That's off of their site.
That finally stopped coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back
that
when
was forever ago.
Bobby was like was he the first person to like really do this in the art community consistently?
As far as I know, he was doing all the streams and stuff, and I was on there doing the challenges with him. I mean, really, that's one of like the biggest inspirations for Crimson Daggers was like watching Bobby and being like, Bobby's really nice on here. Like, I want to do what Bobby does, but just not care about my public image at all.
Right.
just be a normal person. Not that he's not nice in person, but I mean, like, I didn't want to like make believe I was not me. I didn't want to be Bobby. I wanted to just like do something similar I wanted to do what he did in my own way. And like, that's where Crimson Daggers kind of came from.
You didn't want that veneer of, oh, this is clearly going through some kind of filter on it.
Like I'm trying to be Bobby or something. Like I didn't want to do that because he already had like, his thing going. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, what would I do if I had a stream? And then, Crimson Daggers came from that, which is kind of funny to think back on. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. I don't have any bad experiences, though. I just kind of studied things the wrong way, or like I, had bad habits, things like that. Nick Them 91 asks, why do you think 4chan hates on you guys so much?
Oh, because everybody hates everything, and we have.
He says, I guess they hate on any good artist, though. I mean, it's just like anybody. Like,
it's not about being good or bad. It's they hate literally. People love and hate everything. It's just.
Well, you just have to think about it like in any other sense. Like, think about yourself. I mean, like if you are that kind of person, maybe you're really nice. But like in the darkest part of your brain, like when you see something you don't like it's super easy to hate stuff. Yeah. Like we do it all the time. Like we're not. We're not innocent of any of that kind of stuff. No. I mean, what they do is hardly karma. It's like the amount of things that I criticize, just like, not like people all the time, but like things, like I see the Suicide Squad thing and I just tear it apart. Yeah. Like Dan, like we make fun of everything. We're always like joking about stuff.
The only difference is that we put our faces to it.
Yeah.
Like here we are as who we are when we're saying these things. It's not anonymous, but like
that's why you get made fun of.
I understand. Like that was the thing when the thing went on 4chan forever ago. Like I completely understand why people hated me. Like I read all that stuff and I think I even said it on the stream. Like, yeah, like I get that. I totally get why, people would hate me, especially back then. When I was doing the more regular streams and stuff and talking online a lot more than I am now. Like that makes sense to me. the level of dedication to it and like the level of like I hate with a passion, like I'm invested in hating, that was the thing I didn't quite understand, because I've never understood that about like anything really, like because that I don't have that in me where I just like double and triple down on something and really like get conspiratorial about it.
Yeah.
But I completely understand why people hate us. Like that makes complete sense to me. The second you have an opinion about anything on the internet, half the internet probably disagrees with you.
Yeah,
Like,
and I mean, like people,
instantly.
if you have a strong opinion on anything ever, even in regular life, like there's always, if they're not, on the internet saying it, they're in their own head.
Go
saying,
watch,
like,
seriously,
this person's a
like,
dummy.
go watch our, when me and Dave watched the Sony press conference, and we, on this channel, and we put it on YouTube, go read the comment section of that video. Like, half of them fucking, like, hate us. Like, fuck you guys. Like, you didn't even play God of War, did you? The speech doesn't match the lips because they're cyborgs, you fucking moron. It's like, they get so mad about just the fact that we went, oh, that game looks kind of boring. Beyond Two Souls is kind of boring.
If that ever happens to you and you think it's like real or something, like none of it's real.
No,
it's just that
it doesn't matter.
It's. I heard this thing on what was I watching? I don't know. I heard it on, if anybody watches that like First We Feast channel. Mm-hmm. I read a thing on this after I saw it in the video because I thought it was like interesting. I was like, I guess this happens to everybody. But it was the dude it was Eric Andre, and he was on the show where like they just eat hot wings and do like an interview. I think it's called Hot Ones. Mm-hmm. If you look it up, Hot Ones, Eric Andre is a pretty good episode. But in the episode, they talk about like you get a ton of hate on the internet. And, he's on like Adult Swim and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And they were like, but you always call everyone out who like hates on you. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that like every time he messages people like that to say like, why don't you just like talk to me about it kind of thing, mm-hmm. that they just go like, oh, I really like you, like I didn't mean to say that and whatever. Yeah. It's like that happens 9 out of 10 times. Nobody's ever gonna but that's the thing with people in real life, like you can't take it as real. It's like if you experience some kind of like harassment or anything on the internet, it's just people talking. Like you don't need to take it seriously.
I've done that.
We have tons of shit going on. It's like it's not like gonna ruin your life.
I've literally done that too, where I saw like one thing that used to get me mad, not anymore. I don't know why it used to get me mad, is when people put out really, really bad advice in the frame of like, I'm gonna fix your problems. Here's the guide to successful design, and like they give you like really terrible advice. That used to really piss me off, and I'd always comment on that stuff on Facebook and be like, why is this good? This is, you're not helping anybody with this. Like this is a waste. And then I realized, like, I'm just being a prick, and I don't care. And if people like that and they think it's going to help them, then I should really just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not worth my time. And my opinion is not correct. Like, it's my opinion. Like, I'm not holding secret facts that people have to obey. That's such a crazy sociopathic thing to think about yourself.
No, me and Dan are idiots.
Yeah, we're fucking morons. Like,
it's like we're stupid people with opinions, and we have theories on shit and stuff, but, like, it's not fact.
Yeah. No, none of it is. And what works for us doesn't work for 90% of people. Like, it's totally fine.
Yeah, and I never believe that crap, that, like, anything that we say, it's like... What I think is funny is how, not with us, but like anybody on the internet, how like something will happen years ago and people hold them to that forever, as if like nobody's ever allowed to like grow and evolve with their opinion.
People also put pieces of discussions together in their own heads that never happened. Like, me and Dave knew a guy from back when we streamed, and like, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to like, give undue attention. It's not a negative thing. I don't want to be rude, but like, we used to talk to him back when we did Crimson Daggers occasionally, and he's a really cool guy. And we met him at the workshop and stuff, and it was really fun. And then when we got out of the workshop, Dave started doing a ton of movie work, and I went in-house and did Transformers stuff. And we also started working on Steve all the time. And we stopped talking to pretty much everybody. Like, I would talk to Dave, and he would talk to me, and I lost contact with almost everyone in the entire art community. And I got a message from the guy like 3 months ago. And he was like, I don't know why you hate me, but like, I'm really sorry for whatever I did. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't hate you. And he was like, you've been avoiding me. You haven't talked to me in like a year. I fucked up and did something, but I want you to know that, I didn't intend to. And I was like, oh my God, you think that? I've literally just been really busy. But like, that's the thing. People connect dots that aren't there sometimes.
And if you're thinking about it too, like a lot, like if somebody says something negative to you, like it's so easy to focus on that. But you just have to kind of like, shrug it off. Like it's a one-time thing. They probably didn't mean it. They probably didn't even look. But
Wizard Eyes, just subscribe.
Welcome to Team Cream.
Cream Team. Welcome,
Cream
man.
Team.
Yeah, we're here. Thank you. You're part of us.
So
we're part
much.
of you. Man.
Just going from the shadows.
Yeah.
Into all out. No, but I just mean that, and because I know that, and I'm not saying this to say like, for us specifically, but for anybody who takes, like I think we all as artists, it's like we're sensitive to negative criticism, like we focus on it. But, I would just say to anybody who is affected by that kind of thing, to just take it for what it is. It's like somebody driving by in a car and shouting something at you. Mm-hmm. It's like they're going to go on with their day. They're doing their own thing. They probably just did it to be a dick, or there's something going on in their life that's like frustrating them, and they're just taking out some steam on you or something. It's like, or they think that you represent some bigger thing or whatever. And they're just like shouting at you. It doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't have weight to it. And they probably don't even think about it after the fact.
It's the thing no one ever considers, is that if you're talking to a 30-year-old person, you're talking to 30 years of baggage that they're carrying with them. And anything you say could trigger a response in them that you did not intend. So all you can do is your best and be polite and just hope for the best. Like, I don't know. Just be honest with people and try to represent yourself the way you want to. And if people get upset, give them a chance and talk through it. They're not automatically wrong because they disagree with you or they hate you. Maybe they have a good criticism. Like, people have said stuff to me before where like, I really hate this thing you do. And I'd go, oh yeah, you're right. That is pretty hateable. If it wasn't me not even realizing that dumb shit was coming out of my mouth and hearing that, then yeah, I'd probably hate it too. So I'm going to try and stop doing it. Like, don't just write people off right away. Like, they don't like me, so I don't like them, and fuck them. Like, the whole team thing is so stupid.
And that's our advice on bullying.
There you go.
All right. Well, how do you say this? Ryanok, I guess. He said, I wanted to ask you guys, if you were going to build your own IP book and you knew you were going to need to crowdsource it eventually, but you wanted to keep it secret so nobody can steal the ideas/pictures, would you rather risk losing your IP ideas to gain exposure, or wait till it's completely finalized and printed out to promote it as a finished product?
That question's an oxymoron right from the get-go, because you use the term crowdfunding, and you can't crowdfund something unless you have a crowd that wants to fund it. The only way to get a crowd is to show them the thing and get them excited and see if they're interested in funding it. The only way to do that is to show it to them. So if the idea is that you're going to crowdfund it, by definition, you have to show it to them before you crowdfund it. If you finish a book completely and throw it up on Kickstarter without showing it to people ahead of time and letting them know the Kickstarter's happening and building anticipation, that book will have a significantly higher chance of bombing immediately. That's just the way it is. That's how crowdfunding works.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with, like, I'm assuming you mean like the problem with finishing something or not finishing something and then getting like the money or whatever, or the exposure, and then not having the kind of like drive or something to finish it maybe. Like that kind of thing is a real problem. It's the confirmation. It's like you get the confirmation that you did something when you didn't do it, and you get the response and all that, and it's super tempting to not do anything. But to go against that, I would say have a good chunk of it done before you show people. Like, have something that's a sample of it. The thing I would suggest against is sharing it at a level where you're not entirely sure 100% on what it is. Because what you do is you create in other people an idea of what it could be. And then they're going to base their judgment for that thing when it comes out off of that. So the problem is that you don't want to share it when it's at a stage where, you know, there's not something there online that you can point at and say, this is it. You like, you need to have that part done. You can't just put up a trailer. Like when we put up the Skull and Shark trailer thing, like I did that trailer just for fun and worked with, you know, Laserhawk and was like, this is going to be a comic. And then it kind of just got popular and I wasn't expecting it. And from there, it's like people already had an idea of what that is. So when you leave people with that, like let's say you're trying to build an audience for a thing and you do that first because you think that that's the right thing to do, people are going to look at your comic, whatever it is, when it comes out and judge it based off of their own expectations, which is going to like really mess with the whole process.
Yeah.
Because then it's never going to be the thing that people wanted. And if you just put something out in a preview, then, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. And sometimes if you're really invested in something and you really love it, you know, you can't cling to it. You just gotta let it go. Sometimes that's the only way to move forward, just like Locke and Rachel. You know? She fell off that cliff and didn't remember who he was, and, you know, he had to leave the town of Collingen. It's just the way it is. We done?
Tom Ralterman asks, what do you guys think about the comparison of a show from the 90s and now in terms of the morals? I think Lemon Grab is funny, but maybe not so good for kids to see. Basically, Joffrey as a lemon. I don't know what Lemon Grab is.
I don't either. What's Lemon Grab?
Show from the 90s, I guess.
Lemon Grab?
I have no idea.
Lemon Grab. I have no idea.
I actually don't watch like any kids shows now, so I can't even think of, you know, I have nothing to base it off of.
Well, here's the question. How long has the Skype call been?
2 hours. I mean, you can look at the base of your OBS and see the time it's been on, like a good call.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go for like another, I don't know, 10 or something, because if we start getting towards 3, the file is going to be so huge.
Okay. Let's see on here. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, it's a character from Adventure Time? Well, that makes sense, because I have not seen much of Adventure Time.
Right. Let me see.
Nickum91 is asking how long it takes to do a video tutorial, recording it, getting it online, and all that.
It depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're going to do something like what I do in mine, where they're, you know, 5+ hours, like the last one I did, you know, being over 15 hours, it's a ton of work. Like, I don't know, it's not straightforward. It's not like you just go and you record it and then you're done. Like, the editing process takes me, I don't know, over a week, something like that, like a week straight of editing, you know, like all day. Like, I'll go through each one of them and cut it together. You know, if something's, you know, like if there's like spots in the video where I put my pen down for a second, or like I got a call or something like that, like I got to look for all those. So I more or less will watch the full 15 hours and make sure there's nothing weird. And then I edit down the spaces, like the gaps in all of my audio. I will, you know, make sure that I'm not having these points where I'm just not saying anything. And the commentary alone takes me, you know, obviously like straight through 15 hours minimum, but longer than that because of cuts and things. So if there's a problem with the audio, I'll have to re-record it. But, you know, it takes as long as the video is. You know, if it were an hour, 2-hour tutorial, it wouldn't take me very long. It might take me like a couple days. But yeah, it's a lot of work because, you know, initially just for the 15-hour one, I'll say like, you know, painting it straight through took me 15 hours, you know, what the video is because it's real time. And then recording the audio is real time. So that's already 30 hours plus the bonus content, which brings it up to like 16 hours or 17 hours of like straight through.
But keep in mind, that's not for a regular Gumroad kind of video, because most people just like, you know, talk over a video and slap it together and put it out. Like, you know, a lot of people don't put the 15-hour dedication that Dave does available right now, Gumroad Dave Rapoza orc tutorial. So worth your money and time.
If you don't know, most people's videos, they cover about a 15th of that time in the same cost. So what's your
that right
best
there?
option?
That right there, what I just did was hateable. Because, you know, if someone unfortunately was like, I fucking hate it when Dan shamelessly promotes Dave, what a hack. I'd be
And
like,
you know what
yeah,
I
that's
hate
true.
more than
that
that
is
is
true,
how
yes.
they hide it in a joke.
They hide it in a joke.
In a
like,
joke.
Ha ha ha, they're so likable when really they're just shilling Dave's fucking tutorials. Like,
And
yeah.
whether or not you want to believe it, they are shilling it when they say it.
A dog just ran through the air and bid it be.
You kidding me, dude?
No, dude. It just happened. And now I'm deflecting from it. Because oh God, what a hack fraud.
Dude, you're such a pussy.
Emphasis on that P, please. Get closer to the mic.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I would suggest that you get into doing live stream stuff if you want to do tutorials. Get used to talking. Do like Twitch while you're painting and see if you can do that. Like, get used to explaining your process, because the more you can talk through what you're doing, the easier it is for you to recall all of that when you're, when you're going in and doing the final like commentary. And I also make like a million notes. I will sit for, most of the time I'm planning, so I write like hundreds of notes. Mm-hmm. Like my desk was covered during that tutorial, because how do you talk for fucking 15 hours? It's insane. Like I just write so much stuff of things that I want to cover. But yeah, I don't know. Suggestion would just be to teach for free, teach to the point where it's like you're comfortable with talking, and then put all your hard work into one thing. And then, if you feel good about charging for it, then charge for it.
Here, I'll wrap this up while we wait for one final question. Get that question in, guys. One final question, then we're going to get off of here. Thanks for coming. After reuniting in the town of Narsh, our three parties of adventurers under the leadership of Bannon have defeated Kefka in their first battle. However, Terra, unexpected, transformed into her Esper form, wreaking havoc across the continent as she sailed to the south. Will our party find her? Is she okay? And what is the mysterious past of the ninja named Shadow? All this next time. Final question.
Jesus Christ, you guys. It's like sucking the energy out of me. Oh my God. You just like hit me with a thunderstorm.
That was me picking up a cinder block and telling Dave to stay down.
That was like me as if both my monitors suddenly turned on that old live action Beauty and the Beast TV show. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, oh!
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
Now people who love that show hate you. You just can't win. You just can't win.
Kotura-chan says, one day you guys should improv a page of Steve Lichman for the stream.
Oh, I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Improv? Like improv a new page?
Yeah, I
we
don't know
could
if
do
that...
a page.
Yeah.
Like we could do an issue.
With the amount of like script revision we put into those, I don't know if we could just wing one on a stream. If we did, it might not be any good.
You could probably do a preview of like the audiobook, something like that.
Oh yeah, we could read the book and improv that, probably, yeah.
We have all kinds of voices.
we have
can we
all
just
kinds of voices. Like at the sign in an old drugstore.
There's so many voices in this book.
There's quite a few. We could count them right now and try and figure out how many there are. There's a lot. There's like 30.
Yeah, there's too many.
Quite a few.
I really can't wait for the transcript of the full audiobook. And I want to see what people do with it.
Are we actually going to put that out?
I feel like we should in some way.
All right. We can. We have it. I just got to run a spell check on it. We can put it out.
Yeah, like that would be insane.
I wonder how many pages it is. Fuck. It's got to be like at least 100.
Yeah. We haven't told anybody how long it is on here, or have we?
No, I think I mentioned earlier in the stream that the audiobook's like over 6 hours long.
Yeah, it's huge. So
some of the issues are 20, 25 minutes long. Single issues. Like if anyone's read the book, like the second to last chapter is almost a full half hour long. So
Yeah.
there you go. We went a little overboard. Is there any chance we could do a short animation of Steve like we did for Starville? Yeah, I mean, we already have, like, you know, Dracula animated for subs on here and stuff. We'll probably play around with more stuff like that. And it just takes a lot of time. Yeah.
Someday.
Probably not before book 2's out, but we'll see.
Yeah, it would just be, I mean, just to do the Starville animation, it took me like, I don't know, 2 months, a month and a half or something like that.
Is there a way to get the audiobook still? Yes. We haven't put it up yet, but it will be available. You can either tune in here to find out when it goes up or sign up to the mailing list, because we'll probably send a thing out on the mailing list when it becomes available.
Synth fetish. Can Mike and I buy more t-shirts from you? No. I mean, not for a while. I would like to have that stuff available, but man, I don't know how to do it. We couldn't just like, it's hard to keep any kind of shop open year round.
We'd have to pay someone to do it.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do something like the lunchbox for the next Kickstarters? Yes, it won't be a lunchbox, but we are gonna have like a special thing that you can get that's exclusive to the project.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Promise. Promise.
You guys can hear all the people outside.
Promise.
There's a lot of people outside.
I can't hear them, man.
There's a lot of them.
Oh, I heard
you really
something.
Can't hear them? Dude, there's a lot.
Katura-chan asks, how long was it taking you to make a single page for Starvale? I actually did 3 pages of Starvale every like 2 days or 3 days or something like that, but that's mostly because there was nothing really for it when I did it. There was no script or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of winging it.
Here's a good one. Oh yeah, actually, before I answer this, the 1940s Superman is my favorite version of Superman, probably.
Me too.
The animation is probably the coolest version of Superman to me personally. Okay. Any idea how the tiers will work with the next Kickstarter? Can I run through these, Dave, without spoiling what the special stuff is? I'll give you the first couple, because it's not a surprise. You can get book 2. You can get book 2 with an audiobook of book 2. You can get book 2 with book 1. And you can get book 2 with book 1 with both audiobooks. After that, it's all spoilers.
Yeah, we have the special things that are included with each one, as well as the top tier being like the really cool one with all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, those top tier ones will be coming out to you relatively soon.
Maybe tomorrow? It all depends on when I get the last thing I'm waiting for.
Yeah, so all that's happening, and then all of the commissions that came with it, they're going to ship separately for anybody in here who got the top tier.
Someone asked me the other day if Steve Lichman was going to become Skull and Shark slowly because Steve got a leather jacket. And I said, "You're smarter than us." But yes, that's what's happening. Steve Lichman Book 4 is going to be called Steve Lichman Book 4 Skull and Shark.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Anyways, do we have a final question to wrap up on, or are we good? Got a lot of little questions there about little specific stuff. Anything?
I just want to say thanks to Team Cream for all your help and suggestions for people to send the Steve Lichman Book 1 to for review.
Cream. We love you.
Really appreciate you, beautiful people, and everybody who subscribed today. Thank you so much for supporting us. For the people who have subscribed already or donated, thank you. You make our lives wonderful. Mm-hmm. You creamed us. You got us all set up. We're dipping in that, ranch. We're covered.
That ranch.
I just want to say, you're the reason we can do anything. You know what I mean? Any of this stuff that's on here, it's because of you. We're just a couple dudes winging it.
Cream rising.
Yeah, the cream rises to the top.
Whoa, what? We got one of Shadow's dreams at the end of the stream. That's super rare, by the way, in this game. Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Look at this. That's interesting that just happened.
Sorry, I'm trying to enjoy Shadow's dream here, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. I'm delayed.
There he is, guys.
Beautiful. Yeah, hashtag Team Cream. There we go.
Can we get Steve and Friends action figures?
Oh, in a perfect world.
In a perfect world, yeah.
We looked into some things as far as like toys and
Wow.
like stuffed animal stuff goes, but it's pretty expensive. We would need to sell a ton of stuff in order to make them like, purchasable, or they'd be expensive,
or they'd be one-offs where we don't make a ton and then we have to charge like hundreds of dollars for them.
Yeah.
The packaging for them would be insane too.
Right.
Anyways, we got a question. We good?
I think we're good for now.
All right,
but
we're gonna
we'll be
end
back.
on that creamy dream.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that was some deep lore, guys. I don't know if you appreciate the lore that just happened.
Yeah, that was really good. Deep lore.
Deep lore.
Lore of Shadow. Yeah, fine.
Good way to end. Just drop it. Just drop the effort. Yeah, fine. Great. Well, hey, seriously, thanks for coming, everybody. Great talking to you. We'll be back in a couple of days to do some more of this. If you're part of the Kickstarter and you back the book, I'm putting up the final update probably tomorrow, maybe tonight. And then after that, there's only one more thing that's going to be posted on there, and it's going to be the campaign is over thing. But the final update with all the information, if you're still waiting for stuff, is on there. Everything is shipped except the top tier lunch boxes. Audiobooks are coming out this week. We did it. We got there. It's done. Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll be back.
Thanks to all of you, beautiful people. See you soon.
See you soon. And YouTube.
Hey, YouTube.
YouTube, what's going on?
I mean, if you are hashtag Team Cream.
Hashtag Team Cream.
Then, hey, what's up? I hope you're doing good. Everything's been good over here.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well.
We're just, hanging out. I've had 2 cups of coffee, and guess what I ate for food today, Dan?
It's got to be something that pairs bad with coffee. I'm going to go with pizza.
Chips and salsa.
Oh, you're having one of those days?
It's the only meal I've had today.
Oh, that's not a meal, dude.
Listen, here's what we have in the fridge right now.
Okay, walk me through it.
We got like almond milk, which just has the dark chocolate version, which is way better than regular chocolate. Just, FYI.
More flavor, fuller
creamers
flavor.
Out there.
Yeah.
If you're like me and you can't have cream and you want some in your life, I have to take it from the team mostly, but I can have almond cream.
What else you got in the fridge?
Yeah, so the almond cream has to make it happen. And I gulped that stuff down. But only had chips. I don't have any other food in the house. So I just what I've been eating.
Wow.
And 2 cups of coffee, so I'm buzzing.
Well, on the one hand, I'm proud of you for not ordering food. On the other hand, I'm sad that you ate a bunch of chips and salsa because I know what that does to you. I know the place it puts you mentally. But congratulations on not ordering food. YouTube, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks
we need a special message for
the
them.
chat.
Go
ahead.
Damn, I'm trying to think of something. I got grease butt right now, where I shit, and then I went to wipe it, and it just never stopped. So I gave up, and now I'm here, sitting here. And what's happened is I've been sitting this long, and I've been sweating because I'm sitting in a leather chair, of course, and the sweat has reactivated. You know what I'm talking about.